are here. They're gonna tear it up, rip it down, and shoot it straight. Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Talk KOAN. And now, Fagan and Biegel.
All right, be ready. This is going to be a wild ride. I would say this will be the broadest spectrum of political discussion that has ever occurred in one show on any format at any time.
Take cover. Anything could happen.
Be ready. Yeah, flak jackets in place. Your head might even explode. I don't know. There's a lot of news, of course, politically speaking. And so we will be covering all of it. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie on the air here, 6:07 a.m. You're listening to KOAN, KVNT. I would love to hear from you. We are but 2.5 weeks away. It's time for the public to start speaking. So 569-1080. That's the number. Bonnie, I have embarrassed myself not once, but twice.
Ooh, what happened this time?
I blame it all on being, like, really tired. At the end of the day yesterday, I was really tired. You know that men, part of the benefit of being a man, and there aren't very many left. We can stand up when we pee. This is nice. Okay, this is a pretty big, I mean, you do have to count that in a big benefit.
I'm so jealous.
The other one is we get to insult our friends murderously.
That is true.
Miserably.
I have noticed that about men.
Absolutely ridiculous. So, but I went across the line. I think I did. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Not good.
Uh-oh.
So this is how it went. I was feeling just miserable by the end of the day yesterday, and I work with this guy who works crazy schedules just like me. And I was so tired, I hadn't put together that he hadn't been there all week. And basically, he'd been off. So I go into his office, and I say, Brian, you'll appreciate this. I said, you look like I feel.
Oh.
So somebody else was in the office. They say, how do you feel? I said, I feel like crap. He was like, well, I've been off all week. I was like, oh, my gosh. I told him later that I was having surgery next week to remove my foot from my mouth.
So had he gone through a traumatic experience during the week or something?
No. I mean, this is just, you go in and you insult people. That's basically what you do.
Maybe he was just binge drinking all week.
So, yeah. I figured maybe he'd had surgery or something.
No. Anyway, so that was embarrassing. The other one was I go in to return a movie, Godzilla. Did you see the latest Godzilla?
I rented it, but I did not watch it.
VHS or DVD?
DVD. Come on, let's get into the 90s here.
Well, you're returning a movie.
Yeah, well, I still have some VHS, by the way.
Yeah.
A whole set of them.
Hold on to them.
Yeah, you were getting on me yesterday about writing a check, so.
There you go. Well, that's
get with the times.
Yeah, I get to insult my friends, and you just happen to be one. Anyway, so I go in to return my DVD, and there's this woman with a cart, sort of kitty corner, but not really. She's not in front of the screen at all, and she's fooling around, I think, with a mop from her cart.
Fooling around with a mop.
Yeah, like, she'd purchased a mop, and so she was over to the side with her cart sort of kind of blocking the screen. And I just walk up, and I press back, exit, start over. She's like, excuse me. Like,
oh,
hi, how are you?
She wasn't finished.
She was not finished. Now, but seriously, if you're at the red box, you're at the red box. You're not fooling around with stuff in your cart.
It's like the Walmart bingo where the person oblivious that they're in the way.
Yeah, yes. That's it. That is exactly it. I mean, can I be counted down for that?
People are funny.
Red box bingo.
Red box bingo.
There is a certain...
the person renting more than 4 DVDs at a time.
Yeah, and it's 30 below out.
There is a certain politeness, manners you're supposed to use at the Red Box.
Is there?
Yes. I mean, like, don't take so long.
Now,
know what you're going to get when you get there.
Oh, here we go.
Know which card you're going to use. I don't know.
What's your time limit? Let's just be honest. Okay, there has got to be some internal clicker that's going off in your head. When does it start going off for you?
2.5 minutes. Yeah,
okay.
And then it's like, move along, people. You don't know what you want. It's not there. choose something else or let somebody else go.
My alarm starts going off after about 30 seconds if somebody's
wow.
right behind me.
They can't do it faster than me.
Well, no,
Move.
I'm not for that. I mean,
Oh,
for me.
you mean if somebody's behind you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm
for
just
me,
trying to
it's
be
like
patient.
10 minutes. I get 10 minutes.
But my alarm starts going off after about 30 seconds. I'm thinking, oh God, I got to get this done.
I know.
There's got to be some movie. There's got to be something in here I can watch. Come on, I'll take anything.
Barney, something.
So, yeah. But then it starts to ring loudly outside of my head after about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 6:11 a.m. Amanda Coyne is got a full plate of political news to serve up. She doesn't think the National Guard scandal is going to die down before the election. If Parnell gave us enough information to go on, I think it could, because this. First of all, I've always thought this, and I'm looking forward to asking his wife this, who's going to be on the program later, the First Lady. We got a full show. It's crazy. We've got people who are in the Walker camp, the ex-lieutenant governor candidate, and a friend of his, C.N. Stevens, is going to be on with us. She's a libertarian running on the east side, which I would have said, 10 years ago, that would have been the strangest, the strangest sight in history, is a libertarian running on the east side, more conservative than conservative. But we'll talk to her. We're also going to have Zach on from the Democratic Party. He's a spokesman for the Democratic Party.
I just wish they could all be here at once. Wouldn't that be fun?
I did try to arrange all that, but no, they wouldn't. They wouldn't do it. And the First Lady is going to be here, Sean Parnell's wife. It's going to be wild. There's no doubt about it. In addition to that, we'll bring you the news of the day, and Bonnie, and Brian, and Biegel. So all the buzz, it's all right here on Fagan, Bonnie, and Biegel. Fagan's out this week. He'll be back on Monday.
My daughter prayed for him last night.
Did she?
She did. She said, I hope Fagan's enjoying his breather.
Oh, yeah. I think he's very good at that. He's quite highly qualified at enjoying himself while he's off.
I just didn't even know she knew what a breather was.
Yeah.
That was cute.
Where did she come up with that? Huh. I had to take a breather.
I had no idea.
Oh, man. Well, we made it to Friday.
Woohoo.
I didn't even know how that happened.
Gone
All
by
the way.
quickly.
Not for me.
No.
Dragging. This
Oh.
show is hard. It's hard to do this show, but it's basically a full-time job and a full-time job.
It is. You have quite a few of them. Brian has like 10.
I'm down to 9.
Are you
Yeah.
down at 9?
Yeah.
Well, you got fired?
No.
Like, you suck
Once
at this.
I make
Get out.
twice as much at another one, I can quit one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
It's all about upgrading.
That is nice.
That didn't happen, but
It's a
Oh, well.
dream.
yeah,
We
someday.
live in the dream world. Your thoughts on Ebola as well. We do have a lot to cover here. 6:14 a.m. KOAN, KVNT 569, 1080, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. It is Friday, October 17th, 2.5 weeks away from the end of the election. I think the election actually will start on Sunday or Monday. You will be able to start pre-voting.
Good.
So,
I'll be there.
yeah, a lot of people will be. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Let Alaska Enterprise Solutions show you how to reduce those high print costs. AES is a Xerox professional agency in Alaska with Xerox's worldwide support behind them. You can reach us at aesalaska.com or 561-5100.
It's said that character is what you do when no one is watching. If that's the case, then Senator Kathy Giesel has the sort of character that is needed in Juneau. Away from the photo ops or flashy media events, Kathy Giesel hits the books just like she did in nursing school. For the past 4 years, Senator Giesel has worked hard for you, studying the impact of greater access to immunizations for Alaska's kids, crafting legislation that frees up business owners to expand and hire more Alaskans, and working to improve the infrastructure like roads and schools, not just for this generation, but for generations of Alaskans to come. This election is more than just about promises or bullet points. It's about sending the right person to Juneau with the character to act on behalf of us when we can't watch. We need someone with the character to do the hard work when no one is watching, to make decisions we can trust. We need to re-elect Senator Kathy Giesel.
Paid for by re-elect Senator Kathy Giesel for Senate. 12701 Ridgewood Road, Anchorage, Alaska, 99516.
Hey, football fans, we've got a quick quiz for you. Which do you prefer? A, B, C,
We're going into overtime.
or D?
Going into overtime.
If you chose D, then there's only one place for you this football season. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wall-to-wall TVs, wings, beer, and plenty of food to share. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Well, howdy, I'm Nick Worthington for 4x4 Headquarters, Worthington Ford.
Home of over 1,000 vehicles and 700 4x4s.
Head in today and we'll take up to 3 times your PFD. 3 times your PFD, plus pick any vehicle, and you can make no payments until next year. Take a look.
Here's a Ford Explorer for just $89.50 and a Ford Expedition for $99.50.
Here's a Chevy 2500, only $99.50. And here's a Toyota Camry, just $13,900.
Remember, we've got over 1,000 vehicles to choose from, and winter is coming. Get a 4x4 for those icy roads ahead. And the best place for that is 4x4 Headquarters.
And we'll take up to 3 times your PFD. And folks, don't forget your trade-in. We need your trade-in.
Push, pull, or drag it in, and you'll get top dollar.
Now's the time. Head into Giant Worthington Ford on Gamble.
03 2500 Q1587A, 08 Expedition Q1688, 2012 Camry Q1491, 07 Explorer Q1111. Unapproved credit subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Ends 10/23/2014.
Mia Costello, Lance Pruitt, and Kathy Giesel haven't served that long in Juneau, but they have got it figured out. Junkets? Kathy Giesel has spent $80,000 on travel. Booyah, taxpayers! Taking care of donors? Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel supported the new LIO with a sole source contract that increases rent 5 times over current rates. Let Pruitt do it to us again. And having it both ways, Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel want to take money from your neighborhood schools and give it to private and religious ones instead, all the while saying they are pro-education. Sweet, huh? Yep, Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel have it figured out. Do you? This notice to voters is required by Alaska law. We certify this ad is not authorized, paid for, or approved by the candidate. This ad paid for by Putting Alaskans First Committee. Top contributors are Alaska AFL-CIO, UA Local 375 PAC, and PSEA PAC.
You're on with
6:19 a.m. It is Friday. Made it.
Don't you just love election season?
Try not to listen. Look, I had a very brief conversation. You know, you run across people on the left, and most people I could totally get along with. You know, I really don't have that much trouble. I know where the where the trouble spots are and where to stay away from, and I'm very respectful of. Look, I get to talk for 3 hours a day. I don't need to talk for any other time than that. You know, everybody else gets the rest of the day. But so I go in and I get in the middle of this conversation people are having down the hallway. There's one guy on the left. And they were talking about this person because of the National Guard. They just had 3 recruiters who were found out that they had been raping basically every person who they could get in their back room, or apparently. And so they found this person with the license plate RAPER.
What?
There's a person with a license plate raper on their license plate. Now, I don't know whether or not they were trying to spell someone else, because, you know, that does happen occasionally.
Maybe they're a rapper.
Maybe they're that could very well be that they're trying to spell something else. Like I know somebody who had the license plate HEREDG, and it's supposed to be her edge, and it looks like here dog.
Yeah.
She was not happy, by the way, with her significant other who had done this great gift for her.
Oh.
But she did keep the license plate. I mean, I think she kind of got over it. Like, no, it's her edge, okay?
Yeah, I had one of those bad
there was
license plates for a
his
while.
edge and a her edge.
Oh.
Yeah, so. But anyway,
Wow.
so
the raper.
Yeah, so I go into the middle of this conversation and this guy says, "Yeah, it's probably Dan Sullivan's personal license plate."
Ooh.
And this is what I get from that, because what this person thinks is because I have a political candidate that I want to support and I don't want to support yours, I don't have to treat you with dignity, and I don't have to treat your candidate like a human being. And it's so instructive. I believe that decency has really left many people who are far on the left. They think, look, we're doing good. We're trying to feed people. We're trying to house people. We're trying to clothe people. You're not. Even though you do that through your own churches and through your own charity, like a decent person, you're not trying to do that, so I can treat you however I want. I'm good. And I look at that. I listen to that. Of course, I got right out of there because...
But you didn't say, "Oh, I'm so glad you listen."
That turns my stomach.
Thank you for listening.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he didn't listen to me. I mean, they were just talking.
They just knew that
he
you
was
support.
No, he was talking. This is a person, a lot of people who are very, very bright and they're on the left are always trying to convince other people of all kinds of weird conspiracies and just really talk trash, until somebody walks into the room. But generally, I just stay out of their way. I can't handle that level of negativism.
Mm-mm.
And maybe that's a character flaw. But what I expect goes on in everyone else's mind when they hear that is, that's cruel. That doesn't say anything about Dan Sullivan. But it says a hell of a lot about you.
Right. It speaks more to their character.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I just let it lie. People are smart. The voters are smart. I trust people to generally make the right decision, and I trust people listening to that conversation to say, wow, okay.
I saw a perfect example of that this morning. Was looking at just on my Facebook, Shannon Moore. She's written a statement here, and it just starts out, "This person is the asshat." You can say that.
You can.
And that's just, that's how you start out your article. That was the fourth word.
And she's supposed to be professional.
And you're just starting off by throwing them into the gutter.
Yeah.
And here's why they're trash.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just that's a little too negative.
I wonder if people really read beyond that. Or just say, you know what, this is not worth my time.
No, I think a lot of people on the left, they do get their jollies off of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it as it's another slam. Oh, no.
Yeah. There's a certain percentage of the population who are so convinced that they're right. They don't need anybody else to tell them anything. They don't need any facts. It's like the global warming fanatics. Guess what? It's a lot nicer now than it was in the early 1900s. That's just a fact. It was colder then. It's a lot nicer now than it was in the early 1800s, than in the early 1700s, than the early 1600s.
It's called a trend.
It's called a trend. Now, could it have something to do with us? Sure, it could. Is there a little warming due to us? Yeah, probably. Is it the end of the world? See, this is where you kind of go off the rails. They're convinced, and nothing will unconvince them. Even 18, 19 years now of no warming. They had the earliest snow in history. Many places down south. The lower 48 had one of its coolest years ever. Alaska's still doing well, by the way. If you go outside, you'll see that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my thought is, this is as warm as it was supposed to get for the next 100 years. It's pretty nice up here. I actually don't mind it. It's all right.
It's been a beautiful fall.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love it.
The crazy thing is, a volcano or just a meteor could change everything in one day.
Yeah.
There's some global warming for you.
Yeah, and I agree with you though, Brian. You probably read articles that say, Mount Pinatubo and some of these volcanoes that are releasing trillions of, pounds of garbage into the atmosphere, that we actually follow volcano trends more than we follow our meager addition to the atmosphere. We've increased from 3 parts per 10,000 to 4 parts per 10,000 of carbon dioxide, by the way. And from that, the other side will claim that the world is coming to a swift and sure demise.
They're the humanists.
Well, they have to believe in something.
Yeah.
I
just think that, how pompous of people to think that they're the ones doing all this, whole damage to the earth when really we're just peons.
Yeah. Now, see, I think that if human beings wanted to dramatically change the earth, we could. First, we could nuke the face of the planet.
I guess we could
We could
do
wipe
that.
out. We could wipe out all the polar bears. We could wipe out different fish species, other than pike. Apparently, we can't wipe out pike.
I wish we could.
Did you see that they are starting to poison lakes
Yes.
in order to kill pike off?
Is that down south they're doing
No,
that?
here.
No, I mean like south in the
Oh.
Kenai Peninsula.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah, I thought they were up north, like in Big Lake and
They're-
past that area.
Yeah.
I don't know. They said Soldotna Lake.
Wow.
So that's why I wondered.
I'm guessing. I wonder how they figure out what lakes they can poison.
I don't know, because if you go up there up north where a lot of the pike are, all those rivers are connected mainly to the Susitna River, and that could do a lot of damage, not just to the pike, but to everything.
Yeah. Well, I know that they certainly have tested and thought about it. It's not something you just do on a whim. We do have a Department of Fish and Game and hundreds of professionals who are supposed to be figuring this out.
Yeah, maybe we could ask Craig Fleener.
Yeah, actually, we will, because he was near the top of the Department of Fish and Game, and that's one of the things we'll probably be doing today. I don't just want to talk about the gas line.
Mm-hmm.
You either believe that Parnell's going to get a gas line, or you believe that we should maybe redo, or you believe that Walker won't redo, or I don't know.
Well, if it takes you 30 years, you could probably get it done in the next 4.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: we couldn't have gotten a gas line before, unless somehow we got Point Thompson basically worked out. So we finally got Point Thompson worked out. We got all the infrastructure put in up there, and even then, they probably wouldn't have put in a gas line. I don't know.
You know what I think's funny about all this is that people are actually going to be voting for the same person that Sarah Palin is voting for.
Mhm.
Like Democrats are going to be voting for the same person, and it's basically I think like we said before, Sarah Palin 2.0.
Yeah.
So
I first of all, I think that Bill Walker is far more qualified than Sarah Palin ever was for anything. So, and while she'd had attributes which I thought were very admirable as a politician, total lack of fear, she had great courage, she had great instincts politically. But Bill Walker, to me, totally different kind of guy. And I do think that he's been trying to get a gas line. He's been working in the oil and gas industry for a long period of time. He does go on international visits with major companies and people who want to consume gas. And I think he does have a fairly high view of this. I would like for him to tell me what he's going to give up in order to get the people who are going to purchase the gas to build the line. That's all I want to know. 6:29 a.m. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Fagan will be back on Monday. Looking forward to that. Biegel, Bonnie, and Brian are in studio. Stay tuned. Back on Monday. Looking forward to that. Biegel, Bonnie, and Brian are in studio. Stay tuned.
believe the threat against an unspecified target, allegedly phoned in by 52-year-old Joe Cunningham, was not credible. In addition to a pair of warrants out for his arrest, police say Cunningham has a long rap sheet with dozens of criminal convictions. That the man had recently been released from the Cordova Center halfway house in Anchorage. Uber Technologies is no longer allowed to offer its ride-sharing app, and Kenda explains why.
For now, Uber cannot offer rides in Anchorage via an app that allows people to order off a ride in a privately driven car instead of a taxi. A Superior Court judge issued an injunction barring the rides unless the company is going to use regulated vehicles and comply with local transit laws. The case was brought by the municipality of Anchorage and supported by local taxi companies.
That's your Hot Talk News update.
Sunshine and clouds for today, high 43. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies, low 28. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, high Saturday, 43. Tomorrow night, low 28. And for Sunday, clouds and sun, high 41. And Monday, high again, 41. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Here's my good friend, Keith Monternock.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASE certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
Nothing better than big, meaty Alaska king crab, and what a special new Sagayan City Market have for you right now. Large golden king crab, first of the season, Alaska catch, big meaty clusters, legs and claws, only just the good stuff. Right now, just $17.99 a pound. That's a great price. Right now in the seafood department's new Sagayan City Market. You know, I honestly don't know which I like better, the big king crab or the sweet and juicy Dungeness crab. New Sagayan City Market are also featuring live dungies this week. Clicking and a-clacking in the big seawater tanks, just $9.99 a pound. And they'll cook them for you if you like. Dungeness crab, boy, that's good eating. And in the butcher shops, it's top sirloin steak for all the red meat carnivores among us. They come in the handy family pack, and they're special this week, $5.19 a pound. The La Roma Bakery and Delis in both New Sagayan City Market are featuring fresh baked bread every day, and this week's European bread special is honey wheat bread. You get 2 loaves for $6, and you'll never find a fresher bread. New Sagayan, Midtown City Market, 13th and I.
Trail Boss Solutions is your local award-winning, nationally recognized construction and remodel firm. From handyman services to kitchen design and remodel to custom home construction, Trail Boss Solutions has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion, on time and on budget. Trail Boss Solutions is the only call for all your construction, design, and remodel needs. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River.
In Washington, Mark Begich has voted with Barack Obama 97% of the time, adding trillions to the national debt, casting the deciding vote for Obamacare, and protecting Obama's executive amnesty for illegal immigrants. Alaska needs a senator who will fight back against Obama's agenda. As our Attorney General, Dan Sullivan sued to stop Obamacare and defended our Second Amendment rights. As Alaska's DNR Commissioner, Sullivan stood down Obama's EPA, unleashed new energy production, and created Alaskan jobs. Now Sullivan is running for the U.S. Senate. to stop the Washington big spenders from bankrupting America. Sullivan will cut wasteful spending and support a balanced budget amendment. And Dan Sullivan is pro-life. He'll protect life while fighting to repeal Obamacare. Dan Sullivan, strong leadership for Alaska.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
6:35 a.m. So Brian, our producer, is going to go and hijack a family.
Purchase a family.
And take them out to eat.
Can you buy one?
Is that what I understood?
Well, no. If I had a family, I'd stay at home and cook. I love cooking.
You do?
But yeah, but
now, what's your specialty meal? Because I do have a couple of very special meals that I can make.
You know,
not meals.
The old stuff Mom used to make that I liked, the pot roast with vegetables,
mashed potatoes.
Yeah, chicken, spaghetti.
Yeah, I can make rice-a-roni.
Oh, I love
you
macaroni.
mean from the box you can make rice-a-roni?
That is correct. And most people have no idea. If you eat, most people go, rice-a-roni, that stuff is horrible. You have to brown it. You have to brown it, then you have to brown it some more. You have to keep browning it until it's almost black, and some of them will actually be a little bit toasty. Then you can make your rice-a-roni. That's the key. And you have to do that in butter.
I try not to do
fake butter.
too much out of a box.
Not golden soft.
Not golden soft. This is real butter we're talking about. Anyway, that's the key to making a good rice-a-roni.
It sounds tricky.
Oh, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people are not capable of it. It takes an extra almost 10 minutes.
So that's your job, huh? Is to make the rice-a-roni?
I can make eggs and cheese.
Yeah.
I have a lot of tricks for that.
I'm good at breakfast.
Oh, yeah. And ramen.
Ramen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and there was one other thing. Oatmeal. I make a really good oatmeal.
Wow.
I can tell
your
bowl of water.
I can tell your participation in
No.
meals is
I am
Just
good
can't
at
do
all
without
these
it.
things. These are specialty meals. Like in oatmeal, you got to put a certain amount of egg in it, right? And then you also have to put enough butter and brown sugar so that it actually tastes good. But it's a nice balance. You really have to find the right balance.
I can tell that your wife just can't do without you.
That's right.
Well, he did invent buttering the backside of a Pop-Tart.
Are we going to talk about that?
As opposed to the front
I still
side.
have a couple more. Yeah.
Spend a whole show again. A lot is going on here. There was a piece in the Alaska Dispatch News, which I really am trying to figure out. We've had the No on 2 folks in here, the Big Marijuana, Big Mistake, where pot is legal, 5 things that haven't happened in Washington. And as soon as I read the title, I thought, well, wait a minute, we don't have a law at all like Washington. We have a law like Colorado. So the hair on the back of my neck stood up, and so then I posed the question. I said, my understanding is Colorado is our equivalent scenario, not Washington. Basically, word for word, the same rules. Support for the law has dropped 15 points since passage in Colorado, with a full 60% now opposed. Raz Lemons. Do you think that's his real name?
Wow. That's almost as bad as Charlotte Green.
Yeah. Raz Lemons comes and say, link, please. So I gave him a link. I don't know. Well, that's my understanding. I mean, I always want to be corrected if I'm inaccurate. Oh, and one of the people who's coming in today has said that there's another part of the National Guard report that was not released and that Governor Parnell could release it. And I had another person who I know very well, and they said, well, all of the documents have been released. So
That's what he stated, that the whole thing has been released. There was nothing that was redacted.
So I'm still got to find out the ins and outs of that. I'm not sure. Lisa McGuire is jumping into the middle of the National Guard situation and wants to do hearings on it. Now, I don't know exactly what kind of hearings you do. You know, even the governor, I guess, felt very uncomfortable essentially breaking rank and getting in the middle of the National Guard base and started to stir things around. It took, 3.5 years for him to get to that point. But I don't know what the legislature will do about it. Any ideas what they would do?
Well, are they just trying to save their own necks or what? I mean, are they just trying to say that we're, maybe, they probably have the public write them letters and, contact
just ask
them
what are
and
you
say,
gonna do?
Yeah, because it's a big deal.
I mean, isn't the investigation probably going to involve some hearings, and won't that all come out when this is all wrapped up?
I don't think so.
Well,
I mean,
are they trying to
like I
investigate
said,
him?
Even
Sean Parnell?
maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're going to try and force some documents out, and that could be an appropriate use of the legislature if they don't think that the executive branch is giving the public enough documentation. I think there is going to be quite a big push to give out as many of the documents as possible.
Well, public opinion, I would think, has a lot to do with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure people are making their decision who to vote for based on this issue, which, of all of the things, I didn't actually get a chance to finish because I interrupt myself quite a bit, but there's one thing I think is true about Sean Parnell, and that is if you had asked him 100 different issues that he thought would impact the race that he could win or lose on, he never would have thought the National Guard. Never. He followed up on every time something came to him. He went to leadership. He talked about it. What Katka said to him seemed reasonable. It seemed reasonable to him. It seemed reasonable to Lisa Murkowski. It seemed reasonable to Mark Begich. It seemed reasonable to everybody who was in the command other than 4 or 5 people who were complaining. I mean, there was no actual evidence that Katkus was, in the middle of any of these sexual assaults. So I think it was hard. And Parnell now accepts the fact this guy essentially was lying to him, constantly leaving things out and leading him on. And he led a lot of people on.
Well, he admitted here, Sean Parnell admitted that, he trusted the wrong person for too long.
Yeah. Well, the question that I think is the most just is who's best to clean it up. Let me go to the phones here, 569-1080, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Todd, welcome to the program.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I wanted to make a connection between Ebola and the Malat Walker campaign, if I could.
This sounds like a little devious here.
Well, the origins of it are somewhat a mystery. The similarities. The origins are somewhat of a mystery. The way that it spread seems to be kind of inexplicable, and if it does spread too much, it will be quite disastrous.
We're faced, by the way, Todd, here with the real possibility that Walker and Malat will be leading the state at least for 4 years. You think that we're in big trouble with that? And what do you think that they would do? What do you think the most damaging thing would be?
Well, I think the most damaging things will be the things that we're not aware of. What bothers me more than anything is what they had to promise the least humble politician in the state of Alaska, what they had to promise him to get him out of the lieutenant governor race.
I want to know that too. Is he going to be on our Supreme Court here, state Supreme Court? Will he be in the cabinet? I'd heard that the Democrats were promised several cabinet positions, which will devastate our state.
Yeah,
when we have an opportunity here to move forward, but it's not going to be with a Democrat at the head of the DEC.
I'm concerned where Hollis French will go, and I don't know if you noticed this or not, but Bill Wylakowski has been very quiet the last month and a half.
That is absolutely true. I wonder why. Do you think that I thought it was just because he lost on Yes on One?
I don't know. I don't know if that would quiet him.
Well, Todd, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call. Thanks. 569-1080 Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie 6:44 a.m. It's October 17th. We still have not had any snow. The S word has not occurred, so I believe I'm going to pronounce my inside scoop person at McDonald's as incorrect. Stay tuned. Inside scoop person at McDonald's as incorrect. Stay tuned.
Fagan and Biegel. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime, movie times, reviews, and more. Get tickets, friends style. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go before and after every show. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
There's a lot of so-called experts out there claiming to have the key to success in business for a price. Are you ready for real business advice you can trust without a fee? Then don't miss Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Advice from people in the know. Technology, finance, taxes, and more. Business people helping business people take their skills and services to the next level. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
Alaskans are gearing up for the November elections. Harry Crawford looks to be...
That's it. Your time is up.
Hey, everyone. It's Kathy Giesel. Hello, Miss Giesel.
No, you're not allowed to speak.
Well, I was just about to...
No, stop!
This is Harry Crawford. Kathy Giesel was chastised by her own caucus last year for shutting down public testimony. That's certainly not going to happen if you make me your senator. You know me. The more citizen involvement, the better I like it.
That's right. Harry Crawford spearheaded the successful Trust the People initiative. A former iron worker, Harry Crawford works across party lines with a real can-do spirit.
You must stop talking, because I need to get on an airplane.
And that's another thing. Kathy Giesel spent $80,000 on travel while approving the largest budget deficits in Alaskan history. Looks like Harry Crawford is the real fiscal conservative in this South Anchorage race for the Senate.
Please vote on November 4th, paid for by Crawford for Alaska, Anchorage.
Parking space 105A. To many, it's just 130 square feet of publicly allotted tarmac, unless you own a 2014 Mercedes-Benz CLA. With its muscular, seductive look and distinctive diamond block grille, that parking space is transformed into a stage that showcases to others what groundbreaking style can be. And as you pull away, thanks to the turbocharged inline-4 engine, parking space 105A transforms again. This time, into a launching pad. See the world differently. See it in a CLA from Mercedes-Benz, whose vehicles retain their value better than any other premium brand, according to ALG. Get the 2014 CLA 250-4MATIC starting at just $31,900.
MSRP for a 2014 CLA 250 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, final availability, and actual dealer price may vary. Some equipment described as optional. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best. Or nothing.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 10
or nothing.
Adam Manna.
6:48 a.m. KOAN, KVNT. Lots of signals, lots of opportunities, lots of ways to listen to and actually watch the program. We broadcast a live video stream as well. Go check that out. What's the best way to get to that?
Go to danfagan.us, and there's a link right there that takes you to our YouTube page. It'll say live. You know, there's all the videos are on there.
Okay, and they're historically all the videos for the whole show, right?
Yeah, I think we might have not done it for the first couple weeks, but there's about 60 videos on there.
Wow. Yeah, because people get they make requests to go back and watch.
We've had over 2,500 views now as of yesterday.
Nice. Well, I want to welcome everybody, however you get the show. Love to hear from you. 569-1080 is the number. I cannot believe that the unions are not going. They're declining to participate. I will rephrase that for them. They are running scared.
Well, that's what it looks like.
That's what it is. If you here are the words that they use, and I'm trying to place this into my own experience, but they say we don't think this is an appropriate forum for us. Now, if you are in an inappropriate forum, I guess you could be there with your pants down. That would be inappropriate, which is kind of what I'm thinking they would be, because they have. You cannot justify the contracts that they've been given by Mark Begich. You just can't.
They don't want to debate them.
Right. They're getting $220,000, $230,000, $240,000, $250,000 for the top cops. You can't justify that. No person in our city is going to sit there and go, yeah, you know, we really think you guys are great at scheduling. We want to make sure you keep doing that. Oh, I doubt that anybody's going to come to that conclusion. So the difficulty for them is you don't want to debate people like the two people on the yes side. And this is yes on one. Anchorage Ordinance 37, all the union members got together, and God only knows why. I mean, they still would have been able to get 3-year contracts. They would have been able to get CPI +1. You know, these were not cruel changes. They just would have prevented Begich from writing whatever it is that the union bosses wanted into the contracts that he was going to sign. So Ernie Hall and Bill Evans, they're great debaters. They understand this issue inside and out. But for the firefighters union and the police union, they come out and say, we don't think this is an appropriate forum for us. To us, it's just not appropriate.
Their appropriate forum is sending out humongous flyers, putting out outrageous radio ads, putting out no on one signs everywhere all over the city. That's their forum. They win it just on that alone.
Well, they got more money.
Yes.
The last thing you want to do is give a fair accounting when you've got more money.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's inappropriate in this is we can't win in a fair fight. We don't have a fair fight. We're kicking your butt. We got $800,000. What do you got? 40, 50, 60, 70,000?
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to debate you. We're just going to roll over you.
Yeah.
And look, it's a great investment for the unions.
Well, and it's not
if
like,
they can get
like
another
you said,
Mark Begich.
If it wasn't bad to begin with, it's just that once people have something that's so good and they get it taken away, they just can't deal with that.
They're going to have to deal with it. What they did to us in the middle of the last recession was unconscionable. It was immoral. The rest of us weren't going to get raises for years and didn't. Many people got a 5 or a 10% pay cut. At the same time that they get a 6-year contract, 5 years from Begich, and then it was the first year of raises were dropped in Matt Clayman's 6-year contracts, and then they were added into later years. So it isn't even that they lost anything in the first, throughout the whole term of the contract. The cost of the contract, by the way, the cost of the raises went from $120 million under Begich in raises to $200 million under Clayman. If you want to see how serious the situation is. So, but you can't do that because when you pass a 6-year contract, you essentially are eliminating the purpose for the next mayor. And what that allows is then they only need to elect a mayor every 3rd term.
Nice.
Well, they can get a couple of $1 million together to elect a mayor every 3rd term. Trust me, that's not that hard. Because in the process of governing, you're kind of going to make enemies. I'm sure that somebody's road didn't get plowed, and the person holds our current mayor personally responsible. If my road's not plowed, you better be on a plow out in front of my house within 4 hours.
Paul Honeman.
So you're going to make enemies as you govern. That's just sort of the way things work out. And so electing a mayor every 3rd term, and then you can get a 6-year contract at the end of your term. You wipe out the 2 terms of the mayor that's going to oppose you. Well, what do you care? What do you care who gets elected most of the time?
Do these people really think though that Dan Sullivan, because their big tagline is keep America or keep Anchorage safe? Do they really think that Dan Sullivan does not want to keep Anchorage safe?
I don't understand.
I mean, is that what they're implying?
Well, here's what I don't get. I understand that union members are able to be essentially convinced of anything. This is what I've heard, that they've made the case in public forums that they believe the number of people on a fire truck are going to go to 1. Can you imagine 1 person on a fire truck? What would the purpose be of that?
The fear tactics are working, I guess.
Okay, well, there is no place in the country that has 1 person on a fire truck. There's also no place in the country, or virtually no place, that has 4 like we do. So we don't want to go to 1, but how about we go back to 3, and in some places they have 2, depending on what kind of truck it is. But that doesn't make Alaska or Anchorage less safe. Having 4 on a fire truck that we can't afford, that makes Anchorage less safe. That's what makes us less safe. You make us less safe. Now, At some point, and I brought this up before, if you were going to pay me $5,000 next year, more than I would get, and then the year after that I would get $10,000, and you're just asking me, look, I know you don't believe in this issue. You don't believe for a second that you're going to make us more safe by having 4 people on a fire truck, which they don't have anywhere else in the country. But would you start making my argument for me? What if I gave you $15,000 the next year?
Sure.
What if I gave you $20,000 the next year?
Turning good conservative people into money-seeking from the public treasury.
Well,
sorry, that's what it is.
And it's not true either. I mean, they're not telling us the truth. Having a $150,000 policeman does not make us more safe. It's not like they're better policemen because they cost us more money.
But that's what they're saying.
That is what they're saying, and that's why they can't go into a public forum where they debate. Right. Cowards.
I don't know.
See, the thing is,
they don't want people. It's theirs to lose.
This is how sad politics gets, because they're not cowards in their personal lives, and individually they're not cowards at all. They're brave people. They're strong people. They're protectors. But when you put them into a union and they have to defend things which are indefensible and actually make us less safe, because if your whole tagline is we are going to make Anchorage safer by having much more expensive police and fire, you can't sustain that in a debate, so you don't put yourself in a debate. I guess I should have known right off, early on, that they weren't going to participate in this debate. It's just sad that they don't realize, if anybody with an honest view of this were to look at it, they would say, if you don't debate, obviously you don't have a case.
They don't want to debate. The latest flyer I received yesterday had a picture of the fireman on the front, and he said, we can't work if we don't have the right equipment. And
who the hell is, what are you talking about?
We have some of the, look around. We have great equipment.
Yeah.
What kind of equipment are you talking about?
They don't have to be specific. They have $800,000 that allows them to be very non-specific. Here's what I challenge them. We weren't unsafe before. We didn't get more safe when we had 4 people on a fire truck. You don't know what you're talking about. You're frankly completely making this up. We're not going to 1 person on a fire truck. We're not going to 2. We want to go back to 3. Period. And yes, your scheduling will change. You know why your scheduling will change? I'll go out to the Alaska Policy Forum and read off some of the $250,000 firefighters that we have. Mm-hmm. Give me a break. Oh, well, would you do it? Yeah, you know what? For $250,000, of course I would. By the way, the firemen jobs are not all that unsafe. Certainly police are far less safe than firemen, but the firemen around here make a lot more money. IPW people make a lot more money than firemen, and that's even more safe.
Well, and they're saying morale is down. Well, I think morale would be down with a union talking against.
Exactly, that's really all it is. If you give me bad
news
news 24 hours a day, and you keep trash talking the people who are employing you and trust you and want you to do great things for the city, and you keep trash talking everybody, and it's always us versus them, and we're victims.
Right.
Well, who would be able to maintain morale?
Right.
6:58 a.m. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Fagan's out. He'll be back on Monday. Biegel, Bonnie, and Brian. Up and coming, we got Terrence Shinnig and Craig Fleener. They'll be in the studio with me. Stay tuned. And up and coming, we got Terrence Shinnig and Craig Fleener. They'll be in the studio with me. Stay tuned.
Now, the other second infected nurse is being treated in Atlanta. 75 other healthcare workers in Dallas who helped care for the African man who died have agreed now to self-quarantine, though a lab supervisor is now isolated as a precaution on a cruise ship said to be fine, not sick. The World Health Organization admits it botched attempts to contain Ebola in Africa. Fox News Radio's Kitty Logan live in our European bureau.
Dave, in a leaked document, the UN Health Agency blamed incompetent staff and a lack of information. It said those involved in the Ebola response in West Africa had failed to see the dangerous potential for the virus. But the WHO has been able to declare Senegal free of Ebola. 42 days have now passed with no new cases in the country. Elsewhere in West Africa, the virus continues to spread rapidly, with over 4,500 deaths so far, Dave.
Getting a South Korean concert turned into a disaster.
Spectators at an open-air concert were trying to get a better view by standing on an elevated metal grate. It collapsed, and they fell into a ventilation shaft 60 feet deep.
At least 16 people are dead. Fox News Radio's Alistair Wenklin says the band, unaware what happened, played on for a little while. On Wall Street, stocks are rebounding big time. The Dow's up 233 points. Fox News Radio, they're imbalanced.
If you're looking for exhilaration, you found it. Whether cruising the road with a KOAN AM Spider, pounding trails with KOAN AM ATVs and side-by-sides, or carving snow with Ski-Doo sleds, these machines are engineered to thrill and perform. During the Yellow Tag event, save up to $4,000
I like opening up public
to a 4-year extended warranty and great financing. Visit employee-owned Alaska Mining and Diving Supply in Anchorage. Offer ends October 31st. Restrictions apply. Subject to customer approval. See dealer for details. For safety and training info, contact the ATV Safety Institute.
Well, tell me where you want to go.
America was built by people with a few dollars and a dream. And while many don't know it, there's one path to success that still only requires a dream and about $10. That's right. If your dream is to start or grow your business, something as simple as the right business card could make all the difference. And today at Vistaprint.com, you can get 500 full-color business cards for only $9.99. That's right, only $9.99. Just go to Vistaprint.com and enter promo code 1818 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 1818.
All my life, I've enjoyed hunting and fishing, but as I got older, it made it harder to enjoy the Alaskan outdoors. Thanks to Chugach Chiropractic, I'm back on the stream enjoying Alaska.
Besides aligning the spine, we also deal with the musculature and the nervous system of the body. To do that, we not only adjust the spine, but we also bounce muscles along with various therapies and deep tissue therapies. We help bring the body back to normal function.
When Malarkey Mark Begich ran for U.S. Senator, he made a lot of claims about his record as Anchorage mayor. Begich knew the truth wouldn't come to light before the election. But now, history has caught up with Malarkey Mark. Under Begich, Anchorage taxes went up 27%. Under Begich, the city budget ballooned, a $142 million increase in spending. Under Begich, the city was saddled with unprecedented 5-year union contracts. Under Begich, a deficit of over $20 million was left for the next mayor to deal with. Begich left Anchorage in serious trouble. Alaska's Energy, America's Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. EnergyandValues.com.
2014, Alaska's economy is picking up steam. Governor Sean Parnell has a gas pipeline project on track, signed agreements, field programs up and running, funding in place. But it's an election year, see? Bill Walker wants to stop this train. Walker's plan? Well, it doesn't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy election. Walker tried to stop any gas line that didn't go to Valdez. Walker's plan had no gas, no permits. Alaskans know 3 things about Governor Parnell. He's an honest man, keeps his word, and cares deeply about Alaska. Parnell got Cook Inlet booming, Point Thompson and a gas pipeline moving forward, 16,000 new jobs created. Walker, he'd be a governor we'd regret. Maybe not today, but soon.
Re-elect Governor Sean Parnell, paid for by Parnell Sullivan 2014 for Alaska's future.
This is Dr. Ellenberg. Are you tired of taking medications? Do your medications create more side effects than solutions?
Do you want more than 15 minutes with your doctor? If you answer yes to those questions, you should consider calling the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine. At our center, we take the time to listen and focus on finding the cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
You're on with
Visit www.girlscoutsalaska.org or call 248-2250.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley. KVNT.
7:06 a.m., October 17th. No snow on the ground here in Anchorage. It has been absolutely beautiful, and I'm looking forward to a very nice fall. If you are looking forward to a very nice fall in your life, I bet you've got somebody to help you plan it. You know, somebody like Country Financial, Mike Daniels, and his team, 13 locations all across Alaska. And if you don't plan out a financial future, I was out looking at statistics for how much people had saved up, and I was shocked how little people have saved, how little planning they actually have done about their lives. Even people who I know they're doing very well every year to year. It's just they're not figuring out what life should be like when they're done. Country Financial is the place to call. 866-COUNTRY, and country is spelled
COUNTRY.
Isn't that nice?
And
By the way,
Beagle spelled?
Beagle spelled B-E-A-G-L-E.
No.
Is that wrong?
No.
That's not correct? That's how Amanda Coyne spelled my name just yesterday. Amanda. I get your name right. C-O-Y-N-E. See? Isn't that nice?
That's nice.
Go out to Amanda Coyne. If you want to look at my name spelled incorrectly like the dog, go out there.
It's
Terrence.
I before E, people.
That's right. It's a German name, like Spiegel.
Herr Biegel.
That's right.
Was ist los?
I got Craig Fleener, who was the ex-lieutenant gubernatorial candidate before Malott stepped in to the Unity ticket, and Terrence Shenigan, who's a trooper here in the state of Alaska. And you guys, of course, are both, I would imagine, still involved somewhat with the Walker ticket. And there's a lot of questions I have about how it will all turn out and whether or not this Unity coalition means what they say. So that's a lot of what I wanted to talk about. And I know that you guys have a much broader spectrum. You know, there aren't very many people who I look to give me new thoughts. But I found that you guys, both of you, are two of the people who I do look to. So I look forward to the conversation, and welcome to the program.
Morning. Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
You bet. You're listening to Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. If you have questions for either of these gentlemen, you're certainly welcome to call. I'd like to get started with the UFL debate, United for Liberty. I've never seen one side of a debate just decide we're not going to show up.
Well, I think what this the argument over AO37 to me has been misrepresented by the city, and it's being pushed as a union particular argument. AO37, the document, was not drafted by a union. AO37 is drafted by the Assembly, and with the mayor's signature on it as well. And it was a modification of existing labor law that was drafted by the city the last time updated in 1989. As citizens and residents of Anchorage, it doesn't matter what your party affiliation is. When your elected officials draft documents, and we elect people to put good things in motion for the betterment of everybody in the community, it's our responsibility to make sure those documents and what they're putting forward, even if we agree with them in principle, even if we agree with them ideologically, if we're aligned with them with a party, or even if we're with them on the side of an issue, we need to know what's in those documents. And in this particular case, this is not Craig and I approaching this from the perspective of a union. We're not a part of the union. We're not associated with the union. We're not taking the union fight. This is us as citizens and residents of Anchorage looking at this document saying there are some very bad things in here, and also that we're raising the issues of certain process problems that arose during this,
Well, the
that's
process
kind of
problems I'm going to call you on.
Okay.
Now, you may not like what's in the document. You may want 5-year contracts or 6-year contracts, as many of the unions got. You may want more than CPI plus 1. You may not want them to have to put forward a fiscal note. You may want the strike provisions. I mean, there are a lot of different things in this document. You know, it was a fairly substantial bill. But on the process, that I don't get. Tell me what was wrong with the process.
Well, I don't want to reveal too much ahead of tonight because I don't want to give the ammo out.
Are you going to be there then? You guys are going to...
We are going to fight the citizen fight in this.
Okay.
And so, but I will tell you that there are some minor process things that should have took place. But one example is, do we rush? I think there were improper things that were going on both sides.
Are you talking about cutting off debate in the end?
There's that, but you have both sides that are at fault there. You have one side that appears to maybe be stalling or slowing that conversation. The other side wanting to rush it and saying we have to do this at by a certain time.
Do you think that the legislature at any time allows for unlimited debate on any bill?
No, but the citizens should have also had time isolated. So if there was somebody like me that still didn't have a chance to speak, and there might have been 200 union representatives.
Do you think we should force that on our legislature?
No, but we can kind of work out some of those details.
Well,
those differences.
there were, I think, 100,000 comments on Pebble Mine.
Mm-hmm.
If each one of those people got a chance to speak publicly, I would think that we would still be going through the hearings for that.
But
should we extend federal meetings so that they don't have any deadline either, and people do not have the right to close them off?
I think in this case we're going to highlight that is one of those red herrings where we could just chase this whole process thing down. The devil is more in the details of the document. There's some things in there.
Yeah.
I think we need to examine it. It's not my job to do the final document and what the city decides they're going to do. But as I look around at neighbors and friends and things that this does to workers, there's some things that we should just consider. I know that the union's going through contract negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
What I do know is that I knew that there were things that the city had offered up and the things that were already in concessions, and those things we want to talk about tonight a little bit, and what that means, and what is present now, and what's been pulled off the table.
So you guys accepted the challenge from UFL. It's going to be more of a discussion, sort of an educational discussions tonight. Is it 6:30 at the Assembly Chambers?
Yes.
All right. Craig Fleener, Terrence Shenigan going to be holding up, and you guys weren't necessarily on the no side.
No.
The no basically will repeal AO 37, and
Right.
the unions have been fighting that. Put 800 grand into it. There's 80 grand on the other side. Obviously, it's not a fair fight. Unions like it that way. They're not going to debate. I am shocked that they didn't come. By the way, did they ever talk to you and tell you why they wouldn't go?
No, I haven't been a part of that process at all.
No, they haven't spoken to either one of us.
Well, that's a little surprising. Now, you guys got a top 10 for the state of Alaska. So just give us real quick here the top 10. Nobody will be able to remember anything you say, so be gentle, and then we'll go back to the top 1 or 2.
Well, I'll go ahead and start. Sure.
All right.
I think
And this is a trooper I'm talking to, and somebody who was
just a
deputy commissioner.
simple village boy. That's what I am.
Well, Craig, you were deputy commissioner for Fish and Game, and Terrence is a trooper. So, I mean, you guys have a perspective 99.9% of people in the state of Alaska don't have. So before we go to break, give us your top 10.
All right, so it starts out, and I think actually these things are memorable because we talk about them. We hear about almost all of these on the radio.
We got
all
about
the time.
40 seconds, so that's all I'm going to give you here, and then we're going to go back to the top 2 or 3.
Number 1 is overspending our budget. The second one is energy costs, underperforming education system, the economy, lack of diversification, depleted fish and game resources, state and federal overreach, state versus Alaska Native relationships, private land ownership, crime, and civil liberties. Those are the top 10 issues.
All right. Well, I like them. Those are some powerful issues. We could spend a show on any of them. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say on any one or more of them. Love to hear from you. 569-1080, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. It's Friday, folks. From you, 569-1080, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. It's Friday, folks.
.com. Hey, football fans, we've got a quick quiz for you. Which do you prefer? A, B, C,
We're going into overtime.
or D?
Going into overtime.
If you chose D, then there's only one place for you this football season. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wall-to-wall TVs, wings, beer, and plenty of food to share.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Nothing better than big, meaty Alaska king crab. And what a special new Sagayan City Market have for you right now. Large golden king crab, first of the season, Alaska catch. Big, meaty clusters, legs and claws, only just the good stuff. Right now, just $17.99 a pound. That's a great price. Right now in the seafood department's new Sagayan City Market. You know, I honestly don't know which I like better, the big king crab or the sweet and juicy Dungeness crab. New Sagayan City Market are also featuring live dungies this week. Clicking and a-clacking in the big seawater tanks, just $9.99 a pound. And they'll cook them for you if you like. Dungeness crab, boy, that's good eating. And in the butcher shops, it's top sirloin steak for all the red meat carnivores among us. They come in the handy family pack, and they're special this week, $5.19 a pound. The La Roma Bakery and Delis in both New Sagayan City Market are featuring fresh baked bread every day, and this week's European bread special is honey wheat bread. You get 2 loaves for $6, and you'll never find a fresher bread. New Sagayan, Midtown City Market, 13th and I.
Well, howdy, I'm Nick Worthington for 4x4 Headquarters, Worthington Ford.
Home of over 1,000 vehicles and 700 4x4s.
Head in today and we'll take up to 3 times your PFD. 3 times your PFD plus pick any vehicle and you can make no payments until next year. Take a look.
Here's a Ford Explorer for just $89.50 and a Ford Expedition for $99.50.
Here's a Chevy 2500, only $99.50. And here's a Toyota Camry, just $13.9.
Remember, we've got over 1,000 vehicles to choose from, and winter is coming. Get a 4x4 for those icy roads ahead. And the best place for that is 4x4 Headquarters.
And we'll take up to 3 times your PFD. And folks, don't forget your trade-in. We need your trade-in.
Push, pull, or drag it in, and you'll get top dollar.
Now's the time. Head into Giant Worthington Ford on Gamble.
03 2500 Q15878, 08 Expedition Q1688, 2012 Camry Q1491, 07 Explorer Q1111. On approved credit, subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Ends 10/23/2014.
Hi, my name is Mike Ferris, president of Alaska Enterprise Solutions. We are the face of Xerox in Alaska. Xerox is a trendsetter, and AES Xerox is following in those footsteps. We are the document management experts, specializing in short-term rentals of copiers and scanners. We have offices in Anchorage and Fairbanks, and we are your Xerox professional agency with an Alaska focus and worldwide support. You can reach us at aesalaska.com or 561-5100.
911, please hold. 911, please hold.
Anchorage has 80 fewer cops on duty than it did 5 years ago, even though the city is bigger. More people, less coverage. Emergency vehicles get pulled from the hillside or Eagle River to cover Midtown when there are multiple accidents or ambulance calls. And that may mean a much longer response time for somebody who needs help. AO 37 removes police and firefighters from the discussion about staffing and equipment. Their experience is ignored, replaced by someone who doesn't understand what swift water rescue means to Eagle River or what rigs are best for hillside roads in winter. Vote no on 1. Let's stop playing politics with public safety. This message is paid for by Repeal 37 and approved by former Police Chief Walt Monaghan and former Fire Chief Greg Goodrich, chairs. Top 3 contributors are APDEA, Anchorage Firefighters, and AFSCME International of Washington, D.C.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
All right, no kibitzing while we're on the air. Terrence, Mr. Shinigan, Trooper Shinigan. Greg Fleener is in.
Kibitzing means.
No, it's Yiddish, isn't it? Yiddish?
Must be German Yiddish.
Most of the little phrases we use are Yiddish, which I think means nothing. I think it just means it came from some unknown source. We are talking about the future of the state of Alaska and a couple of people who I would bet money you guys will be wherever the decisions are being made in one way or the other. You guys have advised the Walker campaign, and Craig, of course, you were a lieutenant governor candidate. You moved aside for Malat to come on, and I think that was hard for you. Do you want to give us a very brief review of that before we move on?
Well, sure. It was not the easiest decision because I like to see things through. I quit a job that I really loved, working as the deputy commissioner for Fish and Game. I liked working with the folks at Fish and Game. They're a fantastic bunch of folks, very dedicated to what they're doing, a highly competent group of folks. And then to step away from that and to run for political office, it's that first of all was a tough decision. But then I stepped in. I stepped in with everything I had and gave it my all for about 11 months, and then stepped away from it within spitting distance of the finish line. That's definitely tough, and the dedicated person in me had a little difficult time with that. But I saw it, and you and many other folks, a lot of friends said, you know, the best you guys can do in a three-way race is probably 10 points behind. So I thought to myself, I could ask my neighbors and friends for another $200,000, raising money, taking their hard-earned cash to come in second place, and I just thought it's not going to be any good to come in second place and putting my family through all of this, knowing that the best chance we had was 10 points behind. I just saw that as a losing opportunity. Even though I could stand there and be firm and be strong and be proud, at the end of the day, second place is still second place. So I thought to myself, and a lot of folks try to say that the unions and the Democrat Party are the key architects in this. Well, they couldn't have done it without me, and I could have said no, it was my seat, and we wouldn't have been where we are now. So if you want to blame somebody, I guess you can blame me, because I very clearly supported the idea for the purpose of putting Walker in, because I think Walker will be a good governor.
Well, he's making a lot of arguments, which I like to hear. You know, he's serious about the budget. He hasn't backed away. I have difficulty believing he's going to do it, given the fact he's backed by the NEA and by the AFL-CIO, who I don't see and I've never seen since I've been in politics for a couple of decades as people who help us get to a balanced budget. Do you think Walker has the strength of character to be able to tell them, folks, this is what I said I was going to do in the campaign, and this is what I will do?
Well, you know, I didn't know Bill before about September of last year when we first met, and every conversation I've ever had with him, building up all the way up to right now, I've seen him as a man of character. And I wouldn't say that he won't do it. I will say that it's always tough to cut a big budget, to cut state government, to cut any government, because everybody gets used to where they are. That's why we haven't had a problem overspending our budget for so long. Nobody complains when there's an 11% raise in spending, a 23% raise in spending, a 27% raise in spending, which we've had. You know, people want to give our current governor kudos for cutting the budget, but you really don't get kudos for cutting the budget that you raised. You can't say, oh, I'm doing a great job by cutting this budget when you only cut it a third of what you raised it to. I just don't think that's that noble.
Isn't it back about to the point at which when he entered office it was about 5.9 billion, 6 billion when he came in?
It was 5 point something billion, yes. I don't remember the exact
numbers. So it went
numbers.
way up when the Democrats took over the Senate, and then he's been escalating it back down. Well, I agree. I think most people have a difficult time saying we have cut past the point at which, you know, to the point where we're going to feel it.
Well, and I don't mind
really felt much.
I don't mind the spending part. Spend all you got. Just don't spend more than you got. And what we do at home, what you probably do at home, is you take a look at the amount of money you're making and you say, can I afford to spend this? Okay, I'm going to take a chance and spend a little more than I'm making this year because it's an investment into something that I need, or an investment into the future. What we're doing is just spending frivolously. We're growing government by thousands of employees. That's bloated and huge, and those people all need a retirement paycheck at some point in time. So we're not using our mind very well when we increase government so much. So if you're going to increase spending as a form of investing in the future, make sure that it's an actual investment that's going to return some sort of revenue to the state, not just grow the size of government and not just spend for spending's sake. And that seems to be what we're doing.
And along those budget issues,
this is Terrence, by the way. It's Trooper Shinigan. That was Craig Fleener, ex-lieutenant governor candidate with Walker.
You know, one thing I'd like to add about this, the issue with the budget, and I've seen this conversation come from many on the right, which, you know, Craig and I can clearly say we're definitely right-sided thinkers. But the thing that Walker has said for the last year and a half, and he said in 2010, was that if you are going to be a player in wherever the cuts or the spending are going to take place, you're going to be a constituent of that. You're going to be at the table. And yeah, it's fine that the NEA has endorsed him, and it's fine that Vince Beltrami might want to stand up and make himself out to be aligned with him. Seriously, Vince may have never even been in Walker's office, but the fact that Walker wants to put those individuals at the table so that they can identify where they think the cuts can help to be made. But again, the union isn't the Department of Education in the state, and the union isn't the one employing those people, it's the state. So the people that are going to be in there receiving those cuts, the union's going to be at the table so they can hear, guess what, your employees that you represent, that I now am the executive over, are going to be at the table, and they're going to help us to make those cuts, versus just going in and spending a night and springing the cuts on everybody and letting them all just feel the pain without ever having had
a conversation. Well, I know that the NEA has already secured more funding promises from Walker, and so that's one part where it doesn't sound like he's going to cut. So the NEA has sort of already got their, they've already got their deal worked out, but I don't know how the unions are going to deal with. I really don't know what it is that they want out of Walker.
Well, think of this: every state employee is part of a union.
Yeah.
So Walker's going to be the chief executive of the largest union base of the country. So why would he not want to have the unions there at the table conversing?
But what do they want? I mean, what is it? Because mostly paying benefits is really what, and maybe different hours or something like that. But I mean, at some point they want something.
Well, I can't speak for him because I haven't had any conversations with him. But I assume that that's what they want. They want that for all of their employees, right? They want more authority. They want more pay, more or better pay and benefits for their people. I presume that's.
Well, he's going to have to be strong, and his character will be tested in this, and we'll find out how that goes. The first item that was on your list was overspending. We have started the conversation about that. I missed the second one. I know the third one was education, then the economy.
Energy costs was number 2.
Energy costs, a great question. How do we? One of the things that people are looking at, which Walker, I think, bravely and properly has come out against, was that bullet line. The bullet line is a $300,000 subsidy for every building in Fairbanks. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We could rebuild your building down here, and then you wouldn't need any subsidy. You have completely new infrastructure. We can't subsidize just on energy behalfs $300,000 for every structure. That's not reasonable. So I think he's right on that. But what is it that he would have done sooner? That he would have done 4 years ago. What was his plan?
Well, I think part of the plan is actually accomplishing some projects. What Walker talks about a lot is actually building something instead of studying it to death. Now, you could look at that as a contradictory thing if you want to, which some people in the media have pointed out. They see some controversy there. And what I mean by that is, on one hand, he's saying he's going to stop study hall and actually start to build something. And then other people are saying, well, you've got to study some things. Well, of course you're going to study some things. He's not going to stop Fish and Game from studying whether or not a moose population is increasing or decreasing. It's not going to stop HSS from studying whether or not there's toxins in the water. But when it comes to energy, I think at some point in time we sort of have to rewind our place in the state and go back to the place where we used to build things that were important to Alaskans. Right now we talk about it. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars on studies. Sometimes the studies they counter one another. We're giving the Canadians money. We've got money just going all over the place, but it's not actually going to build anything.
It's not building anything.
And if we would direct some of that money to building something, we probably wouldn't be in the position we're in.
Don't you think we're closer though now than we ever have been?
Let's get that answer when we come back. And also, I want to know whether or not the big line will go through Valdez or not. Greg Fleener, ex-lieutenant governor candidate, from Shenigan, on the show with me. There, Walker. We'll continue the conversation. 569-1080, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
Business Report, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks are rallying on Wall Street, making up for some of the deep losses in a wild week of trading as investors look over solid earnings from some big American companies like GE, Honeywell, and Morgan Stanley. One market strategist says some reason has returned to the market. At around 11 a.m. Eastern, the Dow Industrials were up 229 points. Traders are reviewing more economic news. Housing starts and permits rose in September over August, and consumer sentiment climbed to the highest level in more than 7 years in October. One stock that's not sharing in the rally is Urban Outfitters. Shares are tumbling after the teen apparel retailer said third-quarter earnings could be hurt by lower than expected sales. But Zayo is sharply higher in its first day of trading. The fiber network company priced 21 million shares at $19 each, below the expected range. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Adam Shapiro.
Warning, you must have your solar system up and running by midnight December 31st, or you'll miss out on this year's federal tax credit. Energy prices are expected to increase by as much as 40% in the near future. Go solar now with no down payment, interest, or payments for a whole year. The door of opportunity is about to slam shut. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR now for a free in-home assessment.
My home, my savings, 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Detectives Thursday in the Mountain View neighborhood investigating the discovery of a woman's body. Few details were released by police. Say 54-year-old Irma Williams was reported missing by family members back on September 30th. The deceased reportedly was known to frequent a handful of local parks, but had never gone missing. Dan Kenda reports a bit of a tax break on the horizon for employers across the state.
The unemployment insurance tax rate will drop from 2.5% to just over 2%, which will be split between employers and employees at about 70% for employers and 30% for workers, who will notice a slight difference in their paychecks. The drop is due to a law that allows the state to suspend tax increases when the unemployment insurance trust fund is solvent.
Finally, the Alaska Aces are to raise their championship banners during ceremonies marking tonight's home opener in Sullivan Arena. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Sunshine and clouds for today, high 43. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies, low 28. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, high Saturday, 43. Tomorrow night, low 28. And for Sunday, clouds and sun, high 41. And Monday, high again, 41. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Halloween decorations. Boy, does Bell's have Halloween decorations. And you know, their famous pumpkin patch is so picturesque, you should bring the whole family out in their costumes this weekend, and our photographers will take your Halloween pictures. Saturday from 11 to 5, Sunday from 11 to 4. That's at Bell's Big Pumpkin Patch on Specking Road only, both days. You'll get pictures you'll treasure for a lifetime. And don't forget See's Candies for your trick-or-treaters. See's has some wonderful Halloween candies, slightly spooky, extremely tasty. Bell's has lots of it for the holidays, so come get it. Folks who regularly shop Bell's Big Gift Shop on Specking Road know Bell's has a terrific selection of purses. They're all simply beautiful bags, and you can't find them anywhere else, so Bell's has them on display for you. And best of all, they're all 25% off this weekend, so be sure to stop by and take a look. Still a few spots open for the Zappi Silver Clinic, October 23, 24, and 25 at Bell's. Call Bell's at 345-4476 for an appointment. Bell's Nurseries and Gifts on Specking Road and Bell's Nursery on Cranberry Road.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555. Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
Because I was a Girl Scout. Visit www.girlscoutsalaska.org or call 248-2250.
Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
7:35 a.m. It is a day of days. The union's running scared. It's unbelievable. They're going to spend $800,000 of public money telling you to vote no to repeal AO 37 here in town, but they won't go debate in a public forum with people who are absolutely capable of saying that your safer Anchorage is just not true. Anyway, the debate forum still goes on. It goes on tonight, 6:30. A couple of participants here in studio with me, Craig Fleener, who is the ex-lieutenant governor candidate with Walker, been replaced by Byron Malott, and Trooper Terrence Shenigan in studio with me. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie Show. 569-1080 is the number here at the studio. Love to hear from you. All right, so to me, we're headed for what I consider to be a very dramatic change in politics, a fairly dramatic change in government. I have a feeling that oil below $90 a barrel is here to stay. You don't know. It's only been down there for a short period of time, but I do believe that essentially is what Saudi Arabia said before when they said we'd be very comfortable at $75 a barrel, and knowing that they can't compete when it's above $75 a barrel with fracking technology that we have down in the lower 48. So essentially, they know that they've got to keep it pretty close to 75 in order to be competitive with us. So I think that's where we're headed. To me, that brings in a whole new era of politics in Alaska. You guys are conservatives. You ran on a conservative ticket. Walker has always said, I am going to cut the budget. I am going to balance this budget. I'm going to be responsible with the resources that we have here in Alaska. I think that likely will happen. And maybe it'll happen for political reasons, because Republicans in the House and Senate will say, well, okay, if you want to cut the budget, we'll help you do that. But it's a new day, right? It's a new day. So tell me a little bit about what you guys see coming up in this legislative session and how you think it'll sort of shake out, who the leaders might be.
Well, I have no idea who the leaders would be in the legislature. I wasn't even prepared to answer that question, but I do think that this question of global oil prices is an interesting one, and I actually think that there's more at play than just Saudi Arabia trying to be mean. I think that they're very concerned about losing their role in Europe with the contest that's going on right now between Saudi and Russia, and so I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. But here's something else that folks probably aren't talking much about, and that is the ISIL, the Islamic State in Levant, Iraq and the Levant.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys now own dozens of oil wells themselves, and they're undercutting everybody. So they're having a pretty major impact on global oil prices, which is helping to drive it down. But you're right, the OPEC would like to keep the prices low, and I think they're trying to drive Russia out of business. But that's a bit of a different story, and it's a different take on things.
I know China and Russia have been getting a lot closer as we've been looking at things. What are we looking at for? I'd really like to talk about the relationship of natives, which both of you gentlemen are natives, and the current governor, and also what you see if Walker were to get into office. Walk me through. First of all, where are we right now? Terrence, Trooper Shenigan here sent me a text a while ago. And there are a lot of things about the crime statistics in the bush that they haven't gotten any better. I really don't understand what it is that you think that the governor is supposed to be doing in order to improve crime statistics in the bush.
I think more of it is a relationship issue. And you move every governor moves in and out of different levels of relationships with different groups based on a number of factors. I think what we have an opportunity to see with a Walker ticket is he's a person that has surrounded himself with probably the deepest cross section of Alaska Native representation on his campaign. He's got a very influential campaign advisor in Paulette Shirk, who's brought a wealth of knowledge from the northwest part of the state. You got Byron Malott, who's coming from southeast Alaska and has that traditional knowledge of so many of the Alaska Native issues that we fought for just post-statehood, and helped set in motion a lot of the rights that we had fought for and got today. And then you have his former running mate in Craig, having been another Alaska Native, and Bill just doesn't shy away from making sure he's well informed on the issues. So I think that's big, and we've just seen a trend, and it's not one governor, it's a trend from a number of governors across party lines, where we've seen this trend of reducing relationships and marginalizing how we're addressed in conversation, and minimizing the impact that we have in the state with the largest employers. If those Native corporations were just to go away tomorrow, there'd be a lot of unemployed people, there'd be a lot of unproductivity. And you also have the largest private landowners in the state. You have 1/5 of the population of the state. You have a huge indigenous relationship that is being not an important part of many conversations. And so I think that's a good opportunity as we look to what kind of changes are there.
Well, I think so too. I'm a little confused by Walker. He first came out and said he would support the Alaska Constitution. Then after Malott came on, he said that he would be, and that this has to do with a rural preference, which is the Anilka title, or a racial preference, which I think is really what a lot of Native people want here in the state of Alaska. They want rights before white people get rights.
Well, I think I would be very careful putting it in those terms. And the relationship that exists between Alaska Natives and the state government or the federal government actually isn't a racial priority. It's a political priority, because the federal government recognizes tribes as entities, and therefore the tribal members are recognized as entities. So you don't get, as an Alaska Native or an American Indian, you don't get those benefits because you're an Indian. You get them because you're a tribal member. And so it's a political relationship, and a lot of people get that wrong, so don't feel bad.
No, I appreciate the correction there. So what I'm really looking for here is, at the end of the road, what is it that our Native leaders want? What will Walker have to do in order to satisfy them so they feel like they're being served?
So what I think has been missing from state government and tribal government or corporations, that relationship has really just been good dialogue. There hasn't been good dialogue, and it's been a hostile relationship, whether it's lawsuits or subsistence or the discussion about sovereignty or land rights or why the state won't help and defend against trespass on Native-owned land. There's just hundreds of little issues that end up crescendoing into this big argument all the time, and one of the easiest ways to resolve that, it doesn't matter which governor it is to have a conversation with folks. And when governors, this one included, previous governors, and even if Bill Walker were to do this, if an issue comes up and you choose not to participate, maybe because it's too politically charged, maybe because they want to talk about subsistence and sovereignty, two of the biggest issues in Alaska Native country, if you're not willing to have the conversation, you can never get to the answer. And so one of the big things that I was pushing when working with Walker is we have to sit down and have a conversation. We have to bring all options on the table. And one of the options you talked about earlier is a constitutional amendment. Whether that change is right or wrong, I'm not going to say, but I do think it has to be on the table. Every single possibility should be on the table, and both sides sit together and say, this one's not good, we throw that one off. This one's not good, and you come down to the last 3 or 4 or 5 possibilities.
Do you think that these conversations could be published? First of all, Brian, could you see if Bob will hold over? Yeah, I missed a placard there. I was so engaged in the conversation here. I'm talking here with Trooper Terrence Shenigan, who is an advisor to the Walker ticket, and Craig Fleener, who was his lieutenant governor, both Native gentlemen, and we're talking about Native issues, or really the future of the state of Alaska. They are top 10 for what's needed. Stay tuned, 7:44 a.m. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Top 10 for what's needed. Stay tuned. 7:44 a.m. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
Sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
The traffic jam. A stifling halt to your thrilling drive. But in a redesigned 2015 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, that interruption is at least tolerable. With the most luxurious interior in its class and an innovative touchpad, the all-new 2015 C-Class is as exciting to experience standing still as it is in motion. And with its improved acceleration power, your state of comfort continues, knowing you'll make it to your destination on time. To your authorized dealer and see the world differently in a C-Class from Mercedes-Benz. Get the 2015 C300 4MATIC starting at just $40,400. Test drive one today.
MSRP for 2015 C300 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, win stuff. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go before and after every show. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
Mia Costello, Lance Pruitt, and Kathy Giesel haven't served that long in Juneau, but they have got it figured out. Junkets, Kathy Giesel has spent $80,000 on travel. Booyah, taxpayers! Taking care of donors? Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel supported the new LIO with a sole source contract that increases rent 5 times over current rates. Let Pruitt do it to us again. And having it both ways, Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel want to take money from your neighborhood schools and give it to private and religious ones instead, all the while saying they are pro-education. Sweet, huh? Yep, Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel have it figured out. Do you? This notice to voters is required by Alaska law. We certify this ad is not authorized, paid for, or approved by the candidate. This ad paid for by Putting Alaskans First Committee. Top contributors are Alaska AFL-CIO, UA Local 375 PAC, and PSEA PAC.
Hi, I'm Senator Anna Fairclough. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing good people attacked. And that's why I'm speaking to you about my friend Kathy Giesel. Senator Giesel deeply cares about her neighbors and what matters to them. She takes the time to listen to their issues and bring those concerns to Juneau. I'm disappointed that her opponent is willing to attack her and not stand on his own record. Kathy Giesel is someone I'm proud to work with, and with your support, she'll continue to fight for you.
Thanks, Anna. I'm Senator Kathy Giesel. I'm proud to serve with great Alaskans like Anna Fairclough, and I'm proud to be your voice in Juneau. I'll stand on my record and the work I've done in Juneau. From issues like healthcare, jobs, education, and a long-term fiscal plan to keep Alaska on the right track, I'm there for you. Paid for by re-elect Senator Kathy Giesel for State Senate, 12701 Ridgewood Road, Anchorage, Alaska, 99516.
Hi, this is Brian Stan. I was a Marine Corps officer before becoming a UFC fighter. Military experience can add greatly to your life, as it has mine. The Air Force Reserve offers many part-time jobs in Alaska, which will allow you to continue your civilian career at the same time. You'll receive excellent training, educational assistance, and many other benefits. Join an outstanding team in the Air Force Reserve. For more information on the Air Force Reserve, go to afreserve.com.
This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this local station.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley. KVNT.
So much to do, so little time. Glad you're out there. 569-1080 is the number. Let me tell you about a sponsor of this program, Earhart Roofing. If you are looking for somebody to really take care of you and go above and beyond, their website is just full of people recognizing how excellent this company is in treating each and every person as an individual contract and something they're not going to overlook even the smallest detail. 10 to 50 year manufacturer's warranty. That's because they have the latest in technology and they're great at what they do. 345-5555, Earhart Roofing. Make sure to include them in your bidding process. In studio with me, Trooper Shenigan and Craig Fleener, who was a deputy commissioner at the Department of Fish and Game. We're going to talk about that, but I want to go to Bob Griffin, who's on the phone with me. And you guys are going to be at the UFL event tonight, 6:30 at the Assembly Chambers, talking about Proposition 1, AO37. But Bob Griffin, go ahead.
Hey, really quickly, I was going to ask the gentleman there on one of the options that seems to be off the table with the Walker campaign is the continued expansion of school choice in Alaska, even though the data is pretty overwhelming that school choice improves student outcomes and decreases taxpayer costs, shrinks the size of government by transitioning public sector jobs to the private sector. But Bill Walker seems pretty clear that he's opposed to any more expansion of school choice in Alaska for reasons that seem to be only other than to pander to organized labor. Any comments on that?
Well, I think that when I had conversations with Bill, we talked specifically about that issue, and one of the things he was concerned about is the additional costs that might be there. He said while we're in a cost-cutting mode, he didn't want to look at options that may increase cost.
The recent Freeman Foundation report showed that the U.S. taxpayers have saved several $1 billion over the last 20 years, and the projections for Alaska would be about between $25 and $40 million cost savings while we improve student outcomes. And yet that's not an option that, for reasons of pandering to organized labor, that option's been taken off the table by Bill Walker.
You don't think, thanks, I appreciate it, Bob, you don't think, Craig Fleener here in studio with me, the ex-lieutenant governor candidate, you don't think that school choice will result in lower costs? Walker's convinced of that.
Well, I think that's what he's concerned about. I don't know if he's convinced that it won't. I think that issue needs to keep being brought up as one of the options that needs to be considered. What we need to consider in the state is whatever gets us the best education possible and reduces costs. So if that includes this broad spectrum of vouchers or alternatives like that, I think it needs to keep being brought up. But at the moment, I do know that Bill has said that if this is something that's going to add to costs, he doesn't want to consider it.
Well, that's a big difference between the two sides. So if people are interested in school choice as I am, that would be a deciding factor. And look, that's the influence of the NEA. You know, we talk about having conversations. Frankly, I've never had a conversation with the NEA that doesn't result in them having and maintaining their monopoly power over education.
I think that conversation, when you're talking about where Bill's coming from, is every opportunity to improve learning across the board is on the table. But if the discussion is about vouchers, see, we keep interchanging the word voucher and choice. He believes that choice is there. Parents should have choice. Parents should be at the fundamental center of it. Strengthen the role. We have to strengthen the support for the teachers, keep the control central. He's against Common Core, wants it ripped out of the system. And those kinds of things, the federal government, if it means that he rejects the Common Core and the $90 million coming into the state.
So the NEA is behind him, but he rejects Common Core. You can understand how difficult, because if you reject it 100%, by the way, you don't get any federal funding. So he wants all federal funding out of the state of Alaska.
Common Core wasn't put in by Bill, nor was it put in by the union.
I don't know if he does.
Well, I don't think that he does, because otherwise the NEA wouldn't be for him. You see that at some point the discussion game has to come to an end, and you come to what exactly are people asking for. The NEA is not going to allow for choice in education, even though it's less expensive, and I can prove it.
But the NEA isn't going to be the governor. Bill Walker will be
he's
the governor,
going to have to be
and
strong.
He has said, I don't support Common Core.
Yeah.
So if that's a deciding factor for you, you know that the current governor has supported Common Core.
No, he didn't. He implemented his own standards. They were not Common Core standards. About 75% of them match up.
And you don't call that a passing grade for supporting Common Core?
Well, basically, it's like you have to learn how to capitalize in the third grade, that kind of thing. But no, I wouldn't say that he's been a big supporter of Common Core. He pulled us out of it. But I've been uncomfortable with that. But I don't know what you're going to do with the NEA on your side. I mean, for them, they're total supporters of Common Core, and as you said, they're total supporters of centralizing power. The difficulty that I have is you can't tell a parent, you're in charge of your child's education, go argue your case with the school board.
Right.
If they have a voucher, then they don't have to argue with anybody.
Well, that's been a
just make
problem.
decision.
That's been a problem in our state and in our country for a long time. Is we've taken away the authority from the parents and it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat governor for that matter. We have slowly taken away the power from the parents, and it needs to be restored completely. So that is one of the things that we need to solve in this country.
Your expertise, and really something that's so important for us to discuss, is what's going on with fishing in the state of Alaska. I'm desperate to find out what the answers are, where we are at, and finding the answers. I'm going to hold that question, though, for a second. Let me go to the phones here. 569-1080, talk to Pat. Hey, Pat, welcome.
Hey, Glenn. Hey, folks. Thanks for being in the studio. Just a couple things. One of the great driving factors between selecting the curriculum was a cost-cutting, a cost-concern measure, because if you go off and do your own standards whole cloth, you're going to spend millions of dollars on assessments that if you can get close but not all the way and reject those things you don't like, you're going to find it much cheaper to be able to use some of those assessment tools that are readily available.
The state of Alaska, for cost reasons, accepted some of Common Core? Is that what you're saying? Because I have never been able to exactly pin down where we are, but that's what you're saying.
Yeah, some of that consideration. I guess one of the main items I wanted to make, though, was in my years in the state of Alaska, the fact that AFL-CIO is solidly behind this ticket is concerning me, because I've seen the likes of Vince Beltrami try to control the economy of the state of Alaska. If you can think back to the last pipeline, Alaska was overrun with union bosses from New Jersey and New York who ran the state for about 5 or 6 years and then disappeared and left the union hands in this state holding up an infrastructure with high dues rates they couldn't possibly support.
Hey, I appreciate it, Pat. How is this going to work? I've never understood people who've never participated in reducing the budget, reducing the size, strength, power of government, minimizing the impact of public employees and their unions. I've never understood why Walker is the right choice for people who are worried that can't work, that can't result in a lower budget.
Well, I think they're looking at 2 or 3 options for governor, and they said which one is the one that we want to support. I don't automatically think because somebody gets behind you that you are them, even though that's what the pundits say, that if the NEA supports Craig Fleener for whatever office I may run for in the future, Craig Fleener must be the devil. I don't think that's necessarily true.
It does seem like, though, that Walker has given in on a lot of things and said, I'm not going to follow through on that. I feel this way, but I'm not going to follow through.
Well, give me an example or two.
Well, like the pro-life stance. And
he hasn't moved an inch on pro-life.
Well, but he said it won't influence his
decision
making.
Well, he said that when I was running with him, and I'm 100% pro-life, 100%. What we talked about when I was running with him is he said this is not a social issue.
Okay, well, the gay marriage thing, too. That's the latest thing here. So, I mean, there are some things that he has...
Right, but what he said is, I am not making this...
His core convictions, though, are being changed by the other side of the ticket.
Not at all. I can guarantee you that those two have not changed.
We are out of time. I appreciate you guys coming in. Craig Fleener, Trooper Shenigan, you should not miss them, 6:30 tonight at Assembly Chambers, and the First Lady of the State of Alaska is going to be in with us next. Stay tuned.
Thank you very much.
Just the good stuff right now, just $17.99 a pound. That's a great price right now in the seafood department's New Sagaya City Market. I honestly don't know which I like better, the Big King crab or the sweet and juicy Dungeness crab. New Sagaya City Market are also featuring
Alaska since 1985. I'm also a 2-time Iditarod finisher, known these days as the Mush and Mortician. When your choice is cremation, call Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center. At Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, you can choose to have a viewing or service prior to cremation, and families can be present for the cremation, much like those that choose burial go to the gravesite. If cost drives your choice, let us know. We will work with you regardless of your financial situation. When you need to choose a funeral home or crematory, or are asked your recommendation, Be sure your choice is Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, where, just like family, we're there when you need us.
The Talk of the Valley, 1020 AM, KVNT, Eagle River, and retranslated at 92.5 FM on K223BJ, Eagle River.
Dr. Anthony Fauci giving an update on the condition of Nina Pham, one of two nurses diagnosed with Ebola after treating Thomas Duncan, who later dies of the disease. Fauci saying at a press conference outside the National Institutes of Health Hospital in Bethesda, Maryland.
This is a serious infection. She's getting the optimum care, and it would be not appropriate to make a prediction of when she would get out. She will get out when she's well enough and free of virus.
A cruise ship stopped outside Belize because of fears about Ebola, the country not allowing the Carnival Magic into port because a worker from Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital on board. Hurricane Gonzalo bearing down on Bermuda, a dangerous Category 4 hurricane, but showing some signs of weakening. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Ana could make life difficult on some of the islands of Hawaii this weekend. This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Gentlemen over 40, may I have your attention, please? If you'd like to improve your performance in the bedroom, we need your help. We're the makers of Peak Nitric Oxide, and we have too much product and too few callers in our nationwide free bottle giveaway. If you want a free supplement to improve your performance in the bedroom, call now, 1-800-616-4026. In a Nobel Prize-winning discovery, nitric oxide was found to turbo boost the virility of men over 40. Not only that, nitric oxide also enhances muscle growth and provides miraculous benefits for your heart health, blood pressure, energy levels, and your immune system. But scientific news is slow to spread, so we have too many bottles of Peak Nitric Oxide still available in our nationwide giveaway. If you'd like to enhance your bedroom performance and enjoy a host of other health benefits, a free bottle of Peak Nitric Oxide is yours. Discover how at 1-800-616-4026. We'll even send free test strips proving it works. 1-800-616-4026.
Naming Ron Klain as the Ebola czar, but will that be enough in response to the Ebola crisis? The Blaze Radio's Chris Barnes with more from Washington.
The president digs in his heels on the issue.
In all the discussions I've had thus far with experts in infectious disease is that a travel ban is less effective than the measures that we are currently instituting.
But polls show at least 60% of Americans favor a flight ban and aggressive screenings, and so does this Republican senator.
The arguments the administration is giving against it don't make any sense.
Senator Ted Cruz of Texas speaking on Hannity on Fox News. In Washington, I'm Chris Barnes, The Blaze News.
ISIS fighters reportedly training to fly captured Syrian warplanes. A group monitoring the terrorists saying that Iraqi pilots joining the ISIS terrorists training troops in 3 fighter jets captured at a military airport in Syria. Some trouble for Vice President Joe Biden's son. The Blaze Radio's Robin Walensky has those details.
He's kicked out because of cocaine. Vice President Biden's son discharged from the Navy Reserve after failing a drug test. The Wall Street Journal reporting Hunter Biden, 44 years old, is out. As for his full-time job, he's currently a managing partner at an investment firm.
The hunt for accused Pennsylvania cop killer Eric Freen costing big bucks.
Over $1 million reportedly being spent every week in an attempt to find Freen within the Pocono Mountains. The manhunt involving 300 troopers and 200 FBI employees beginning over a month ago.
Perfect selection of purses. They're all simply beautiful bags, and you can't find them anywhere else, so Bells has them on display for you. And best of all, they're all 25% off this weekend, so be sure to stop by and take a look. Still a few spots open for the Zappi Silver Clinic, October 23, 24, and 25 at Bells. Call Bells at 345-4476 for an appointment. Bells Nurseries and Gifts on Specking Road and Bells Nursery on Cranberry Road.
Trail Boss Solutions is an Alaskan-owned, nationally recognized top 500 construction and remodel firm. From our handyman services to our award-winning kitchen design and remodel, Trail Boss Solutions is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, and has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion on time and on budget. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
Here's my good friend, Keith Monternock.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASE certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
Alaska's Energy, America's Values, paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Energyandvalues.com. Mark Begich is unbelievable.
Washington thinks it knows what's best for Alaska, and that's what I'm fighting against every day.
Fighting. Begich voted for all Obama's appointments, like Sally Jewell as Secretary of the Interior. Jewell immediately said no to exploration in Anwar and no to a King Cove road. Begich didn't fight Washington. He rolled over, like he rolled over for Obamacare. Now Begich is trying to duck and hide on Obamacare, on oil taxes, on cap and trade, on the IRS scandal, even on Anwar. How can you deliver Anwar, Mark, when Harry Reid says a Democrat-controlled Senate will never allow an Anwar vote? Alaskans can't trust a thing Begich says. It's time to replace Malarkey Mark with U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
8:06 a.m. KOAN KVNT, a spirited discussion. To me, it is such an exciting time to be part of a conservative movement, because for a long period of time, conservatives, like Democrats, they didn't disagree on all that much, and so we wouldn't have all that much spirited discussion about what liberty looks like to me versus what it looks like for you. So we're in a totally new day, and I just wanted to thank Terrence and Craig Fleener for coming on and giving us at least a different side of the story. We're going to have with us the First Lady, Sandy Parnell, with us in just a minute. Before we do that, though, I wanted to tell you about Specialty Truck and Auto. These folks, very trustworthy, and if you've ever dealt with somebody who's not trustworthy in the automotive industry, you know that you have no defense against them. You know, they're going to tell you something about your car. What are you going to say? You're going to say, well, I'm going to get my car a second opinion. I mean, that's just very unlikely. You want somebody you can trust. Keith Montronock and his folks over there at Specialty Truck and Auto are exactly those folks. 349-1637 on Abbott Road across from the Long Branch Saloon. So make sure to go check them out. 349-1637. Well, First Lady, how are you?
Well, good morning.
Good morning
Glenn
to
and
you.
Bonnie. Yeah, great to be with you this morning.
I love having you on here. You know, I ran for office a while ago. My wife didn't want to be involved in the process at all. Does that go away after you're in office, or is that just a natural part of the process, or are you somebody special?
Well, I don't know. I don't think I'm somebody special, but Sean and I have always been a real team and partnership. And so when we, got into politics years ago, it was definitely a decision that we both made together and decided, this is the time to try. We were both fairly young at the time. Sean was 29.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah,
I ran when I was 28, so
Yeah.
I know of what he speaks. He was successful, though, so that differentiates him. He's also a lawyer, and he'd been in industry for a while, so a pretty impressive guy. One of the nicest people I think that I probably have ever met. I've always wondered whether or not politics is not a good venue for nice people. Does that ever worry you?
I just don't believe that.
Okay.
Sean grew up in a household where serving in public office was considered noble. And, in this day and age, it is tough because there's so much nastiness that does go on in politics. But I believe that public service really is for those who care about people, who walk with integrity, who have their motivation is truly to serve people. And we need more people like that. frankly. And so nice, well, sometimes you can't be nice. You have to do what's best to serve people, and that isn't always the easy thing or the nice thing. But good people that have a heart of compassion and care, yes, we need more of them.
Yeah, I'm afraid that some of these attacks dissuade people, good people, from wanting to make a difference and run and put themselves out there. I really think a lot of people who run, especially after doing this and seeing the grilling that goes on.
Are you saying I grill people? What are you saying?
Well, their character comes into question, and that really it makes me sad to see that some good people say, I'm not going to put myself through that. But I really think a lot more of people now, everybody across the spectrum, who does it. So I don't know. I think that these last couple months have probably been very emotionally draining on your household.
You can't get away from it. It's everywhere. It's all consuming. Because people, when they talk about you as the governor, they're the mix between I'm a governor here, but I'm a person over here. A lot of people miss that line. A lot of people miss that line on purpose. And they really start getting personal with their attacks. They use ad hominem. I mean, just to take two issues, the Choose Respect campaign that Parnell really started in the 90s, if you get right down to it, in his legislative job, and the National Guard scandal, where people are trying to figure out how soon should he have acted. Tell me about the Choose Respect approach for Governor Parnell, and why did he do it, and does he think he's having an impact?
Right. He has always had a concern about domestic violence and sexual assault issues, and it really came to light as a real issue in Alaska back in the 1990s when he rode along with Anchorage police officers and saw what was happening, and that a vast majority of the calls were domestic violence related.
Alaska's a pretty dangerous place for women.
It can be. Yes, and as more studies have come out in recent years, we see that, more than half of women have experienced domestic violence or intimate partner violence. It's an epidemic. Sean was concerned about that, even years before these studies came out. In the legislature, he sponsored the first real comprehensive legislation regarding domestic violence in 1996. And we have always just personally supported domestic violence shelters. That's been something that has been very important to us personally for many years. And then when he became governor, that was one of probably the very first initiative that he put forward was the Choose Respect initiative, to really take on domestic violence and sexual assault on a statewide level, to really bring it to the forefront. And it's interesting because in the beginning, people didn't really want to talk about it that much, or they would say, well, yeah, that's a problem, but it's a problem in rural Alaska. It's not a problem here. Or it's a problem
it's a problem in Anchorage, by the way. I think we're 2.5 times the national average.
Yes.
We've got there's no sunshine in the state of Alaska.
Right.
But it's an uncomfortable topic.
It's an uncomfortable topic, and
Well,
people
tell
had
me-
misconceptions about it
Sure.
initially, that it was widespread across all socioeconomic levels in every community in Alaska.
Sandy Parnell, First Lady, is in studio with me. Tell me the basic idea of Choose Respect. It sounds like words. Are words powerful? I mean, is this enough? Is this the beginning? Is this the summit? Is this all we're going to get? I mean, tell me about this.
Right. Well, words are powerful if their feet put on them. And the initiative really has three components to it. One is prevention. The other is services for current victims and survivors. And the other is increased law enforcement. And some of the concrete things are increased law enforcement in rural Alaska. They've doubled the number of VPSOs and increased the trooper support behind them to really bring a measure of safety and responsiveness to communities that didn't previously have it. And it's proven that when you have a VPSO in a community, the level of violence goes down.
Well, we need to take a break here. Can you stay with us?
Sure, you
Okay,
bet.
excellent. We will return 8:14 a.m. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Dan Fagan is out this week, but our leader, our fearless host, will be back again. Sandy Parnell in studio with me. 569-1080. You're listening to KOAN KVNT. Happy Friday, folks. Stay tuned. 569-1080. You're listening to KVNT. Happy Friday, folks. Stay tuned.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
At Amana, the Million Air heat exchanger found in all our gas furnaces is living up to its name and then some. The Million Air recently surpassed the 2 million cycle mark in our test facility, and it's still going strong. In fact, we're so confident in its reliability, Amana offers a lifetime unit replacement limited warranty to the original registered homeowner if the heat exchanger ever fails for as long as they own the home. For information on the Million Air warranty, contact Connect Heating LLC, your authorized Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts. Your local Amana experts are Connect Heating LLC. Stay warm, shop smart, shop local. Choose the Amana experts right here in the Mat-Su. Look at the mountaintops. We know what's
East Anchorage supports Lance Pruitt.
I've known Lance Pruitt for 30 years, and there's no one better to lead him.
Every day, the state of Alaska spends around $7 million that it doesn't have. Alaska is in the red, spending $2 billion a year from our savings. Sean Parnell has used up 30% of the state's savings account.
He will do it for our future. Never know how.
You've packed your family of 8 in a 5-person car. Packed a week's worth of groceries into one bag. When your wife says the dishwasher's full, you just laugh. But are you up for the challenge when there's 20% off on the line? Pick up our exclusive 5-gallon Napa Camo Bucket for just $2.99. Then get 20% off all the stuff you can fit in it. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Some exclusions apply. Offer expires 11/16/14.
The highway, a strip of asphalt to carry you between points A and B. But in an all-new 2015 Mercedes-Benz GLA, there is no point B. Because when you're driving a GLA from Mercedes-Benz, you're not concerned with the destination, only the adventure. With off-road transmission mode and a sleek design, this SUV performs with confident style on any terrain. And no matter where your adventure takes you, the all-new GLA's sporty, expressive styling fits in, yet stands out, complementing the many sides of you. See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today and see the world differently in a GLA 250 4MATIC, starting at $33,300.
MSRP for a 2015 GLA 250 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
October is National Pizza Month. Just hearing the word pizza brings a smile to almost everyone's face. And Sicily's Pizza wants to make you smile 5 times as big with their National Pizza Month special. Get as many as 5 medium 2-topping pizzas for only $9.99 each. Whatever style you like. For fast delivery, call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's National Pizza Month special. 333-8000 or order online at sicilyspizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza, 333-8000.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with
82250.
Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
8:19 a.m. It's Friday. It's October 17th. The election, the end of the election, a mere 2.5 weeks away. The pre-election voting will be starting probably Monday, I think. So you'll be able to pre-vote if you're going to be out of town. And Bonnie, I think you're actually pre-voting, aren't you?
I am. I will be pre-voting as early as possible. I'll be out of town for the election.
Well, that's sort of changes elections a little bit because it extends how long they're going to be, and if any late-breaking news comes up. In studio with me, the First Lady of Alaska, Sandy Parnell, is with us. Welcome back.
Thank you, and again, good morning.
Good morning. One of the things which really drives me crazy is when people who are partisan and they get a voice in a paper. And I remember there was a lady who was involved, and she's a left-wing activist, and she's a lawyer. But she blamed Parnell for not putting village public safety officers and increasing their numbers. And she didn't give the statistic, which is the just statistic of him increasing it by 60, doubling it, as you just brought up. But she brought up the fact that the legislature stripped out the 15 that he asked for last year and then blamed that on him. He doesn't have an veto override for them stripping something out of the budget. He did what was right, and yet she blamed and made it seem like, well, he didn't get any. And so I thought it was one of the least accurate, most unjust pieces that I'd read on the issue of choosing respect and village public safety officers. How do you deal with that personally? I mean, do you sit there all day writing up stuff, this is what I would say if I weren't First Lady, and then you burn it or something like that?
Yeah. At some point, I just can't read it anymore because it does become very frustrating when misinformation is put out there. And I'm not saying that is true across the press at all, but there are certain individuals that put out a lot of either that things that aren't factual at all, or misinformation.
Well, like Channel 2 News the other night, didn't they say something about the report not being released at all, and that was completely false?
Oh, this is on the National Guard?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, somebody told me that only part of the report had been released, but the governor said that the entire report had been released. I know that we were talking about choose respect, and we need to get into the National Guard stuff here too, if you have anything to say about it. Let's finish up the choose respect issue, and then we'll get into that. Is that all right?
Sure.
So 3 parts of this, of the choose respect, and the real question I had, because I keep reading these things online where people are essentially blaming the governor for the number of natives who are in jail or the number of sexual assaults that go on. And I literally don't know what it is that they want the governor to do, to visit a household and say, okay, a husband, stop beating your wife. He just can't do that. Police officers can't do that. Nobody can do that.
Right.
So
right.
What are you? Is this just opportunism that people are looking for, or what do you make of it?
Right. Well, Sean is the only governor that has made this a central issue, that has brought this into the light and said this is an epidemic we are going to deal with. Now, ending domestic violence and sexual assault is not a government solution, right? I mean, we cannot.
It happens one relationship at a time.
It happens one relationship at a time. But we can, and we do, bring it out into the open. We raise the awareness of it by choose respect marches across the state, and by doing so, Alaskans also rise up. What really needs to happen is everyone get involved in this issue and change our culture of violence to one of respect. And it takes everyone's involvement. If people think that this is a government solution, that's absolutely ridiculous, that somehow government can change a culture. But we can bring it and keep it in the forefront of what is going on. And just like mad and drunk driving years ago, and making sure that people, if they were drunk, got a ride home.
You saw the culture change there.
We saw the culture change there. And if we keep on it, everybody working together, and those that have a poison pen regarding this, if they would just set that down or use that pen to write about things that will help the situation. We have to do this together. And when it becomes a partisan bashing, it doesn't serve the greater purpose that we're all winning to solve.
The putting the choose respect on one side and then the National Guard on the other, I could imagine that this is one of the most painful scenarios to go through, that here a person who's essentially dedicated their public office to the issue being blamed for allowing these things to go on. Do you think that's a fair review? I mean, what would you like for people to take away from what Sean Parnell did with the National Guard?
Well, it is painful because it strikes at the very core of what we care about most, and that is the healing and well-being of Alaskans. This National Guard Bureau investigation report that came out, it is very important that it was done. And in retrospect, looking back, you know, we do wish that we had understood that information in full earlier. But now that we're at where we are and it's all laid open, and that's a good thing because that's how healing happens. I mean, that's how the Choose Respect initiative as well is. We need to get this stuff out in the open and deal with it, and it is being dealt with in a very good way. And the governor is absolutely committed to seeing it through the right way, and he's not going to make politically based decisions on it. He's going to make sure that
putting the investigation out was stupid politically. So if he was going to make political decisions, obviously he's failed miserably at that. But does he wait a long period of time to make judgments in this? When he was talking about this, he said, "Look, I followed protocol. I mean, people have the right. You know, you have to give me specific information." There were reasons why the delays went on, and many investigations were satisfied. Katkus and his staff came up clean.
Right.
But he doesn't see that now. I watched the 6-minute video that he just put out, and he's basically saying, "Look, they didn't give me good information. I did the best I could, but I didn't have the information I needed."
Right. And that's a frustrating thing. You know, in looking into those things, he would hear things, and it would be almost like chasing a vapor, that there's stuff that you're hearing out there, you'd follow up on it. There's a good explanation for everything.
We're investigating this, we're dotting all our I's, we're crossing all our T's. These people are going to be taken care of.
Yes, and he personally followed up. He didn't assign it to another staff person to follow up on, but when there was an allegation of a sexual assault or other misconduct, he would follow up personally with Katkus, and it looked very clear, like this, this and this and this and this are being done, and from my perspective, what I would see when I would see General Katkus is someone that was very upbeat, very kind of on the ball. We're getting it done, and I'd see the great job that the Alaska National Guard does, and that I don't want to ever get lost too on what a fantastic job the Guard does in taking care of us in Alaska and serving, in some difficult situations.
Great people,
overseas.
and the difficulty here is this command structure corruption appears to be so widespread that it is, unfortunately, it's probably going to taint some of the Guard, and hopefully not Guard members. The latest news out on this is 3 recruiters now are serially raping people who are in their charge. There are direct ties to Katkus, other people in leadership roles. This looks like it's a pretty big problem.
Yeah, well, it is, and what a few people have done in the Guard is horrible, and justice needs to be done and served on these people, and they need to be out of there. But what concerns me is there are some that are re-victimizing the victims by putting out information that is very personal to victims, and that is not right.
They're trying to force the release of records which would reveal victim status. I mean, I know that you're going to say he's the best, but Parnell's going to continue to follow up on this. He won't let this rest.
Absolutely. He will follow it through to completion, and they have a good process put in place right now, and that's the good thing, is that everything being laid out, now the Guard can go through the healing process, which will involve getting rid of the people that need to be gone, and
Making our troops safe.
Making our troops safe, following through
First
on all the
Lady Sandy
recommendations.
Parnell, thanks so much for coming in.
You bet.
You should get out more often. I know you were at the Women's Summit just a little while ago, and you got to give a great speech, the opening speech there. Thanks for being in with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
8:29 a.m. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Dan will be back on Monday, and we will continue. Happy Friday, folks.
KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Detectives Thursday in the Mountain View neighborhood investigating the discovery of a woman's body. Few details were released by police. Say 54-year-old Irma Williams was reported missing by family members back on September 30th. The deceased reportedly was known to frequent a handful of local parks, but had never gone missing. Dan Kenda reports a bit of a tax break on the horizon for employers across the state.
The unemployment insurance tax rate will drop from 2.5% to just over 2%, which will be split between employers and employees at about 70% for employers and 30% for workers, who will notice a slight difference in their paychecks. The drop is due to a law that allows the state to suspend tax increases when the unemployment insurance trust fund is solvent.
Finally, the Alaska Aces are to raise their championship banners during ceremonies marking tonight's home opener in Sullivan Arena. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Sunshine and clouds for today, high 43. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies, low 28. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, high Saturday, 43. Tomorrow night, low 28. And for Sunday, clouds and sun, high 41. And Monday, high again, 41. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Hey, folks, this is Chris and Brock from The Beer Show. Make sure to listen to us every Saturday at 5 p.m. on 95.1 and 1080 KOAN.
The Beer Show is brought to you proudly every single week by Humpy's Great Alaska Ale House, Brown Jug Alaska, Great Artisan Beverages, and the Odom Corporation. Always drink responsibly.
992-896.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
You can boost your attention span by clocking in some extra miles on the treadmill. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. A new study published in the medical journal PLOS ONE found that athletes are able to focus and hold attention span longer on seemingly boring tasks as compared to couch potatoes. Researchers say that exercising has this ripple effect on the entire body. So exercise makes your heart strong. That can pump healthy blood and oxygen throughout your body and your brain. And that could help boost cognitive function. Now, you don't have to be a super athlete to get the attention span boost. Other studies have shown that people who engage in aerobic exercise, anything from ice skating to taking a brisk walk at least 2 days a week, they have better concentration levels than non-exercisers. If you've been stuck at your desk all day, simply standing up can help. This simple act tells your brain it's now time to be alert. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Dad, what are you doing in my cape?
I'm not Dad. I'm Safety Man.
Any parent can be a safety hero. It just takes a few simple steps. Start by replacing older smoke alarms with Kidda Worry-Free alarms. The 10-year sealed-in lithium battery means these alarms are always on. No low battery chirps and no battery replacement for 10 years. And Kidda makes it simple to choose the right alarm for the right location. Help make fire safety worry-free and give back the cape. Kidda Worry-Free alarms available at the Home Depot.
The flu, pneumonia, whooping cough, hepatitis A, shingles, meningitis, tetanus. That's a scary list. But did you know immunizations can protect you from every one? You didn't? Well, we do. Rite Aid pharmacists are certified to immunize against the most common preventable diseases. Find out what immunizations you need with a free immunization evaluation at Rite Aid today. With us, it's personal. Availability and age restrictions apply in some states.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or Oh, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist with Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Victory lap in progress. It is Friday. Oh, yeah. I know you and I both have a full days of work to do still, but hey, we're going to get through this. We got through it together. It's always my pleasure to be on. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Dan will be back Monday. Looking forward to having him back, 8:36 a.m. this October 17th. Still no snow on the ground. And my wife headed out from home in the afternoon, and I think she said it was 48 degrees. Hold on a second, Mr. Brian in there.
It was very mild.
Look, it's hot. Let's just say it is steamy. It's a very. I like it. I love this this time of year.
We actually have some friends coming up from Tennessee who love fall in Alaska. So this is when they like to come.
It's a little late for fall. Haven't most of the leaves sort of fallen, gone?
Well, I don't know.
There might be a few
when
left.
you've gone through, humidity and 110 degrees all summer.
There's still green grass.
Yes.
So that definitely counts. Let me tell you about Chugach Chiropractic. They changed my life, and chiropractic is one of the least expensive ways to get medical assistance. They can do x-rays. They will check you out thoroughly. The massage center, really, it's an amazing process that I highly recommend. They have various therapists. I think they have 6 different massage therapists there, 3 different types of massage. Just a great place to go. 694-9224, Chugach Chiropractic, a massage. From restless leg to trouble sleeping, losing weight, and a lower back pain that was debilitating for me. So many things in my life have changed since I met them about 3 years ago, and I can't say enough about them. But they can't help you if you don't call, so write this number down, 694-9224, Chugach Chiropractic and Massage. Let me go to Michael Chambers. Michael, I would have bet you... I don't know, my car. Now, my car's not worth all that much, so you had to take that into account. But I would have bet you my car that somebody from the no on one side would have put up their public money where their public mouth is and come and debated this issue. I'm shocked. AO37 will not have a no on one representative.
Yes, I'm rather shocked as well, because I certainly have been reaching out for like 2 weeks. So. So basically yesterday I sat down and reformatted this for a public forum. So Ernie Hall and Bill Evans are going to be in there, and they're going to be arguing the yes on one. And Terrence Shanigan and Craig Fleener are going to be the counterpoint with regard to the no on one. And it'll be a very lively discussion back and forth. And the public will have an opportunity to be more directly involved in this new format. So we're going to be taking questions from the audience, and from what I know, there's going to be a substantial amount of people there. So if you plan on coming, it's at 6:30. I would highly recommend that you get there early.
That sounds good. You guys always put on a good show. Is it that they didn't think you were going to be fair? I mean, there are only 2 options here. They're not going to show up, so they either didn't think it was going to be fair, or they don't want a fair fight. And I'm interested to know, did you give them any indication that this wasn't going to be a fair review and opportunity for them to lay out their side?
Actually, I appreciate the asking that question, Glenn, because the only objection that I got from one of the unions was that they were objecting because Rick Davidge was the moderator, and they indicated that they didn't think that he was that he was biased in his partisan political views. And I told them that, in fact, that I had turned that forum in for them, that if, in fact, they had any arguments or disagreements, that we would certainly replace Rick with someone else. And, that was the end of that discussion.
Well, Rick is a good friend of mine, and he's always been somebody who can rise above whatever it is to get the job done. I mean, that's if his job is to highlight one side or the other, but that wouldn't have been his job. So I'm surprised. That seems pretty weak to me.
Yeah, well, actually, if you look at the format that we had, it was extremely weak because we didn't format any of the questions. They were bringing the questions in. So
all Rick would have been doing is just running the clock. Like that clock, it keeps ticking faster when I'm talking versus the other guy.
No, that's exactly right. So it was very clear that in their conversations that they felt that it was much better time for them to be out knocking on doors and, just doing their thing and spending their $700,000 on, promoting their position than it would be to sit down for an hour and a half and do a debate. So,
well, that's too bad. That's an indication of the weakness of their argument, and that they're not looking for a fair fight. They don't have one on air right now because they got a lot more money than the other side. So why put your people up against two very competitive and very capable debaters on the other side? You could do a lot more damage to your side than good, I guess.
Well, I'm assuming that's what they're thinking, but where I'm coming from and where United for Liberty is coming from is the public side of that we want to be informed when we go into the voting booth. We hear all the time people say, well, they're apathetic about politics or the voting, and because too many times people don't know the issues. And so with United for Liberty, when we step forward to present issues so the public can in fact be informed, and then we don't have one whole side that won't show up to inform the public, it's really a sad state of affairs.
Are you still expecting a large amount of people to show up tonight?
Certainly.
What's the seating like there?
I think there's about 270 there, so that could very well fill up.
Get there early.
The Assembly Chambers down at the Lusac Library. It's a good venue. You guys going to have any food or anything there?
No.
No cookies? No cookies?
No, it's free admission. If we had cookies, we'd have to charge.
Can we bring our own?
I am a cookie hound. I will admit it straight up.
Bonnie, you can bring your own cookies, but you better not get caught with them because I'll ask you for one.
Okay. I'll bring enough to share.
Probably get arrested by a police officer trying to keep the city safe.
Well, because I'm anti-cop, because I won't go on a ride-along.
Hey, I appreciate it, Michael. United for Liberty, one of the standout organizations. You guys stepped up, and the unions won't put their public money where their public mouth is, and I'm shocked.
Yes, thank you for offering this, because I do believe that more people need to go and learn about this instead of just going on all the emotion involved. Come out and hear the other side, because, I know for a fact that they've gotten their side out.
Absolutely, they have. So, and I certainly want to appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity and time to come on a couple of times and promote this event.
Thanks, Michael.
You're very welcome.
All right. Yeah, you got to flip the ballot over and vote yes on one. Our city will be safer if we have policemen that are paid well, not $220,000 or $230,000 well. I think we can dispense with that as a good public policy.
Well, even voting yes because you don't want to see this kind of issue being decided in the public forum. I believe that that's why we elect people to represent us, and that's my main reason for voting yes.
It's a good point. It's a great point. We are taking the reins of democracy more and more and more, and democratic rule oftentimes is just mob rule, especially when one side has $800,000 and they're pounding the streets for all of their people to come out. Because look, this is a 70-30 issue against the unions.
Well, when Mark Begich made these contracts, we didn't, say, oh, we're going to change the law. We know that that's who was in charge at that point, and I'm satisfied with that. If you don't like it, vote him out.
8:44 a.m. It is KOAN KVNT. Happy Friday, everybody. And I'll give you closing thoughts for the week here and a number of stories that are on the docket that quite make the show that you might want to know about. Stay tuned. 8:44 a.m.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, friends style. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go before and after every show. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
911, please hold. 911, please hold.
Anchorage has 80 fewer cops on duty than it did 5 years ago, even though the city is bigger. More people, less coverage. Emergency vehicles get pulled from the hillside or Eagle River to cover Midtown when there are multiple accidents or ambulance calls. And that may mean a much longer response time for somebody who needs help. AO37 removes police and firefighters from the discussion about staffing and equipment. Their experience is ignored, replaced by someone who doesn't understand what swiftwater rescue means to Eagle River or what rigs are best for hillside roads in winter. Vote no on 1. Let's stop playing politics with public safety. This message is paid for by Repeal 37 and approved by former Police Chief Walt Monaghan and former Fire Chief Greg Goodrich, chairs. Top 3 contributors are APDEA, Anchorage Firefighters, and AFSCME International of Washington, D.C.
The traffic jam. A stifling halt to your thrilling drive. But in a redesigned 2015 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, that interruption is at least tolerable. With the most luxurious interior in its class and an innovative touchpad, the all-new 2015 C-Class is as exciting to experience standing still as it is in motion. And with its improved acceleration power, your state of comfort continues, knowing you'll make it to your destination on time. See your authorized dealer and see the world differently in a C-Class from Mercedes-Benz. Get the 2015 C300 4MATIC starting at just $40,400. Test drive one today.
MSRP for 2015 C300 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
The flu, pneumonia, whooping cough, hepatitis A, shingles, meningitis, tetanus. That's a scary list. But did you know immunizations can protect you from every one? You didn't? Well, we do. Rite Aid pharmacists are certified to immunize against the most common preventable diseases. Find out what immunizations you need with a free immunization evaluation at Rite Aid today. With us, it's personal. Availability and age restrictions apply in some states. See pharmacist for details.
In Washington, Mark Begich has voted with Barack Obama 97% of the time, adding trillions to the national debt, casting the deciding vote for Obamacare, and protecting Obama's executive amnesty for illegal immigrants. Alaska needs a senator who will fight back against Obama's agenda. As our Attorney General, Dan Sullivan sued to stop Obamacare and defended our Second Amendment rights. As Alaska's DNR Commissioner, Sullivan stood down Obama's EPA, unleashed new energy production, and created Alaskan jobs. Now Sullivan is running for the U.S. Senate to stop the Washington big spenders from bankrupting America. Sullivan will cut wasteful spending and support a balanced budget amendment. And Dan Sullivan is pro-life. He'll protect life while fighting to repeal Obamacare. Dan Sullivan, strong leadership for Alaska.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
8:49 a.m. Happy Friday, everybody. October 17th. No snow on the ground. It's almost like it's summertime in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Back when it was really cold, and they were worried about global cooling overtaking us all. Love to hear from you. 569-1080 Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Dan will be back on Monday, and lightening the load and increasing our interest level here, so look forward to that. The National Guard continues to swirl, and there are two stories in the Alaska Dispatch News, one by Jill Burke. State Senator wants hearing on National Guard problems, and this is Republican Liesl McGuire. She says the legislature has a role to play in repairing the Alaska National Guard. I think that may be true, but I also think what Charlie Huggins says may be true as well. I don't know anything the legislature can do right now other than muddy the water. So I don't know. If I was getting into the legislature, and I told Liz Vasquez, who was in the studio with us yesterday, that there's so much brokenness here that people really need a whole lot of avenues to safety. You know, I don't think I use those words or anything, but I do think that the legislature's got to be some of that.
I think it's a political move.
Yeah.
It's definitely a save your own neck.
Do, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, she's probably, Liesl McGuire probably has a lot of constituents, you know, contacting them. I know that the senators and, you know, the whole legislature probably has a lot of people from the public concerned about this and saying, what are you going to do about this? Because I know when I get, you know, passionate about an issue, I'll contact my senator and say, what's going on here?
You must be a 1%er.
I probably am. There's not enough of us out there.
That's absolutely true. You know, it's not that hard. If you made a promise to yourself that sometime during the legislative session you were going to spend an extra hour looking something up, an issue that you cared about, and contact just one legislator.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and the reason most people won't do that is they know exactly where that leads. It leads to them being responsible for their vote, and it leads to them being more educated about the conversations that they're going to have. It's like the less educated people are about what they're going to talk about, the more fun they are because they can just sort of make it all up. Did you find that?
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, when the fireworks thing was going on here in Anchorage, I got the assembly people totally
the dog whisperers.
fired up. Yes.
The dog whisperers were on the side of the, we can't be having fireworks, honestly. How can a dog survive with all those fireworks going on? It'll freak them all out.
That was a lot of fun. I got some great messages back from them.
You know, it's funny. I live right by the Rabbit Creek Rifle Range.
Oh, yes.
And I can hear it all day long from my house.
Does your dog freak out? Is your dog just sitting
there
looking
like Richard Lewis? We have a kennel of dogs there.
That's right.
They're completely used to it. But I don't know.
It is the most ridiculous argument I thought I'd ever heard, but yet people kept making it. I mean, it seemed like 5,000 different dog whisperers. I've spoken to my dog, and my dog really does need therapy. Like, you need
my
therapy.
My dog ran away because of the fireworks.
To where? You know, the fireworks, you know, the dog might be freaked out for a little while, and then the dog is not freaked out because they keep going on and nobody's beating the dog or taking away its food or anything. And then it's over.
Well, and then they brought up the PTSD issue for, you know, soldiers returning from overseas. And
okay,
you
not
know, that,
enjoying your country it can cause PTSD too.
I think that they fought for that right for people to do those kinds of things.
That was the argument that I made.
Yes.
I was like, you're speaking on behalf of people, I don't think exist. That, we're going to celebrate our country, therefore my post-traumatic stress is going to come back.
I mean, how many times do you hear the bombs bursting in air? I mean,
yeah,
it's our national anthem.
They make that stuff up. And this is
it's
what
all about emotion, Glenn.
This is what I was saying, though, about people who, the less they know, the more they can just make stuff up. Because they made up the dog whisperer story. They made up the PTSD story.
They just want control.
Yeah. The other letter here, opinion piece, Dermot Cole writes, Parnell's statement about lacking trust in Katkus conflicts with February letter. He called a federal investigation onto Katkus. I'm guessing, here if I may, Dermot Cole, be a Parnell whisperer, I'm just guessing that he had some concerns about Katkus when he called for a federal investigation of the man. I could be going out on a limb there. You think I'm out on a limb?
Yeah,
no. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Anyway, but that's okay. Continue. Alaska Dispatch News. They got to print something. I mean, each and every day.
Well, it's character assassination. I mean, you're taking a guy who has made this his passion in life to, help women in these situations, and then you're assassinating his character by saying that no, he didn't care soon enough.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing he is most guilty of is trusting the wrong person for too long. That's all. That's all it is. It was a misjudgment in trust.
Yeah. Well, I think some people, because not everybody listens to this program, but I think if they had listened to the governor on Monday, and Zach Fields from the Democratic Party was supposed to be on at 8:30 here today. And
we could have heard another side.
He was a no-show. And I don't know how that happened, but I was interested because he was saying that the governor had said some inaccurate things. And look, the one goal for everybody should be that we're accurate. And you could say, well, look, accurately, in 2020 hindsight, I think the governor should have acted earlier. I would agree with that. I think that's true. Looking forward,
would say that.
Looking forward now, I think that there's no better person in Alaska to guide us through this issue than the governor. And I think that's an accurate statement. Now, that's not to say Walker won't do a good job. Obviously, whoever goes into the governor's office at this point is going to be heavily judged on whether or not women are safe in our guard.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yes.
Whether or not we make good on making changes to the command structure that's there that protected wrongdoers, that victimized previous victims.
Well, and again, people need to realize that this did not just start in 2010. It's been going on for a long time. And, stop passing on that talking point.
Well, it's a powerful talking point because most people are going to be operating off of just a couple of headlines.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the Alaska Dispatch News knows, so they'll keep printing them. Amanda Coyne says she doesn't think that they'll stop printing the headlines before the election and that this issue will be one of the deciding factors. We'll see. Sad day in debate history, and that is the folks who want you to vote no on AO 37. In other words, they want a 5-year contract or a 6-year as it got changed. The people who want more than CPI plus 1. The people who want to be able to strike even if they're non-essential personnel. The people who want to be able to control scheduling and equipment, which no private sector business would ever allow their employees to do. It's completely obscene. And that they say that we'll have a less safe city if we don't give them as much money as they want. Those people, our public sector, public employees, have decided not to debate 2 qualified individuals at a forum. I've never seen it.
It's theirs to lose.
I've never heard anything like it. I'm shocked. I'm stunned. But I guess that's what you do. When you got money, Well,
I'm going to go and hear the side that I'm for.
Well,
Vote no on debating.
Yeah, really. Vote no on debating. The shorthand, by the way, to let people know how they should vote on this, because it's very confusing. It used to be no, it used to be yes. Let's see. It used to be no on 1. That's what we did on the oil tax thing. This is yes on 1. So you have to flip your ballot over and vote yes to sustain and retain AO 37.
Yes.
And if we want to change it, which we may, we will have a new assembly to do that here shortly.
Yes, do it in a different forum. That's right.
Folks, have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Dan has been out this week. He'll be back Monday, 8:58 a.m. Take care.